Velina mai kako. Welcome to Keep It Aloha, a podcast that keeps it aloha by not only keeping it aloha every single day, but keeping it sovereign. I'm your host Kamaka, and you and I are going to learn so much today, and I'm so excited. But before we introduce our guest, I have a huge announcement. My book, Keep It Aloha, is officially published and available right now on Amazon. I'm so stoked for everyone to read it, and if you buy it now during the first week, you'll get it at its lowest price possible. I would appreciate it so much. But if you're not a book person and if supporting us financially doesn't work for you, please consider simply liking this episode, leaving a comment, subscribing to our YouTube channel, or head to Apple Podcasts or Spotify to leave a review. It would mean the world to me. All right, let's introduce our guest.
After 175 years, some people still think we're just a ranch.
And we just farm all day.
What they don't realize is we wear many hats. And that's just how we roll. You just might see some old friends.
Or make some new ones.
So come hang with us
Drive on out to the country.
and get that epic snap.
No matter what you're looking for, come discover where legends are made.
Our guest today is a Native-Hawaiian sovereign leader from the island of Oahu. He is the Vice President, Deputy Head of State, and Executive Advisor at the Nation of Hawai'i, the oldest Hawaiian independence organization in Hawaii. He is a longtime resident of Waimanalo Hawaiian homestead community called Pu'uhonua O Waimanalo, where he also helps to manage the community's broadband network. This passionate advocate for Hawaiian national sovereignty helps to assist Dennis Bumpy Kanahele, the head of state of the Nation of Hawai'i, with its day-to-day operations. He is a hammer and does it all, and I am so stoked to talk stories with him today. His name is Brandon Maka'awa'awa. Aloha, Brandon. Welcome to the Keep It Aloha podcast. How you doing?
Aloha, bro. I'm good. We good now.
We good now? Yeah. So yesterday was pretty interesting, yeah?
Yeah, yeah.
How was that for you? I mean, I was on a call with this guy Tanner from Love on the Spectrum and my friend Daniel. We're talking about flying him to Hawaii. Hawaii's so awesome. We're gonna have so much fun, and then we get the siren sound, and we're like, oh,
Right.
sorry, we gotta go. A tsunami's coming.
Yeah.
And that's how it started for me.
I mean, for us, it's like, well, first we seen the watch. I heard my mother-in-law is like constantly like watching the weather, so she sent me like the thing before Hawaii News Now even sent me one alert. So I was like, oh, Mom, you just keep watching these earthquakes and all that. And then I seen the Hawaii News Now thing come on, and so I told Uncle, I was like, oh, bro, I think we got one watch going on. Then when the warning came, I was like, oh, so everybody started making their calls, and I head home, started like packing up all my stuff, and my wife and my mother-in-law is like, oh, why, you think it's serious? I was like, it's a warning. This is the last of they skipped advisory, went straight to the warning. And so, but we was all right. I think it was a good drill just to like understand, like, what do we do in disasters, like as ohanas, right? We got to make sure that, we all know where each other is. We all got to make sure we have a plan of where to go. Cause like, even like that, like I was telling my wife them, we got to get all the stuff, put the cats in the crates. We got to head up to the village and, get up there out of the, because I live outside of the village. I live in the homestead. And they was like, oh, no, I think we should stay. And I was like, oh, okay, wait. Okay, we got to think of one plan, like what we really going to do. So it just made me think about all these things and like running through the scenarios, like if the road is bust, like, or do we have enough food? Mm-hmm. So I started looking through the cupboards. I was like, you see, that's why we used to always keep plenty of food. Like, but my mother-in-law, she Haole. My wife is half Haole, so they don't like to leave like a bunch of food around. But I come from one Hawaiian house, and we had like we're preparing for World War III inside the house, and I was like, bro, that's why we always kept Vienna sausage. Why do we have a sausage? But yeah.
Yeah, it was crazy, and I even texted you later last night. I was like, "You still like do the podcast, or should we reschedule?" And then you said, "Nah, we just run them." And that was already at a point where it was kind of already going down, and I didn't understand like the different levels of it, like advisory, warning.
Yeah.
Because my whole life, this has happened, right? There's a tsunami thing. People go to the beach, they catch waves, they fish, and we have those viral interviews where the guys are at the beach and they're like, "Are you gonna leave?" And like, "Nah, we're just gonna stay here." And
But you're from Big Island, right?
I'm from Big Island. Well, the tsunami happened before I was born.
Right.
Like the big tsunami that destroyed Hilo Town. But throughout my whole life, it's always been like, this just always happens and nothing actually happens. Water recedes a little bit and then, maybe a little bit flooding. I think a couple of years, or like 10 years ago, or whatever, 2011, I think was the last one actually.
Right.
I think I remember like it flooded some of the streets and stuff like that. But yeah, nothing too crazy. So this time, I was telling my friend that I was on the call with, like, nah, I think we're good because he lives on the west side. I'm like, I think you guys will be fine. But they never experienced one before. So they played it safe. And then my whole family was like, come on, you got to get to your brother's house. And because I live pretty much near the ocean. So I was in that evacuation zone, but I wasn't too worried about it. But I'm happy that, like you said, we got to practice this, and it was a drill because when I got into my car and I was just trying to get around the block from my neighborhood, it took me 30 minutes just to get out, and I was thinking, oh wow, this is what it would be like if the world was ending. I watched a lot of zombie stuff, zombie apocalypse, Walking Dead, and I like end of the world stuff. So I was in my car and I was thinking, if this was actually a serious thing, people would be hitting each other. People would be running out of their car and trying to escape, especially if something was coming after us. Oh, yeah. I wasn't here for the missile launch in 2016. When I was in Madagascar during that time, and I remember my mom FaceTiming me because I don't have Wi-Fi or anything, but in my little corner of my house, I had like 1 bar of connection, so she was able to like get connected with me. And she's like, "Kamaka, there's a missile coming to Hawaii," and I'm like, "What?" And then luckily it was like right before they announced it was a drill or something, or it was false. And then she turns on to listen to my sister, and she says, "Oh, never mind. It's just a false alert."
Oh.
But I can't imagine. I had about maybe 10 seconds of like, oh my gosh, there's a missile coming. But everyone that was here had about
20 minutes.
20 minutes of dealing with that. Yeah. That's crazy. So yeah, this was like you said, a great drill, ho'oma'ama'a, for what could happen.
Yeah, and I think like these scenarios, like they all happen for a reason. I think like at least the city, the state, the emergency services, they can kind of review what they go over and like really like take advantage of this, because we don't normally have the opportunity to do like a full scale state drill, and this is like the best part of that, because I mean there were breakdowns, you know what I mean, like you couldn't get out of here, like this is like on all the shoreline zones, yeah, we should have cops out there, I mean it's easy to like Monday quarterback these guys, but I hope they take that into consideration, because I don't think we have enough shelters. I don't think we have enough places to go, all of that kind of stuff. And then leading into like hurricane season, we really can like now better prepare ourselves. I know I was thinking about that. I was like, but see, that's why I told you guys buy one generator. Like I just look at you, all the stuff that now I get the Costco card, and now I'm going to hit up the police. But, for me, I think about these things because, at the Nation, we think about these things, being a government and all that. Even if we're on small government, it's kuleana, not just for ourselves, but like for the community. Like our community is our nation, our people, like, making sure that everybody gonna be okay, or making sure, we can reach people that cannot be helped by the government. Kind of like Lahaina, kind of like all these other disasters where the government, it took a while for them to get ramped up. So the communities had to step up. Same thing how we think, and I think that's a Hawaiian thing, to always think about others.
Yeah, exactly. It's a kako thing, and it's the same mindset of when you're in a plane. What you gotta put on your stuff first, and then you can help others. So I feel like we need to be prepared ourselves so that we can make sure that everybody else is okay. But even though it can be seen as like, oh, we're helping ourselves first, but we're doing it so that we can help others. So I think it's just a perspective that people gotta have.
You're right.
Yeah. But anyways, crazy day yesterday. Oh, actually, I just saw. Well, that's when I went. Wow, I totally. Yesterday was such a long day. I forgot that I visited the nation yesterday in the morning. We talked some good stories. I got to see all the really amazing things that you guys are doing. And then in the second half of the day, it was all the tsunami stuff. So yeah, I feel like I was like, I just saw you. I feel like it was yesterday.
We had a
Okay.
full day.
Yeah, totally. But I do want to get into your whole life story, get to know you before we get into the really, really awesome stuff about sovereignty and the things you guys are doing at the nation. So I like to start at the beginning. Where are you from? Where you grad? And what was it like growing up?
Originally, I'm from Papakolea. That's where my family is from, Anianiku, right on the bottom. I grew up kind of all over. I grew up in town for a little while. I grew up North Shore for a little while. But then in 1992, my grandma got her homestead in Waimanalo. And so I've been in Waimanalo ever since. So that's, about 30-something years. So now I just say I'm from Waimanalo because that's been the majority of my life, especially my formative years, young boy growing up. Yeah, moving around was different because, we couldn't really make neighborhood friends. When I grew up in Kalihi, I had Vietnamese friends, Filipino friends, Chinese friends. Hardly had any Hawaiians when I grew up in Kalihi. Growing up in Papakolea a little bit with my cousins, that was kind of fun. But I think growing up in Waimanalo really shaped me because growing up in a predominantly Hawaiian community, I got to really experience Hawaiians every day, because I just came from Kalihi and I was the anomaly, Had one Hawaiian, had one Korean, and one Vietnamese, and one Chinese. It was like the United Nations of kids. But growing up and you're not the special one anymore, and you with the other Hawaiians, and you get to meet, And Waimanalo is known as kind of a, can be rough place. And when I was growing up, it was a little bit rougher than it is now. I would say Waimanalo is a, really good community, to raise a family in and all that. But yeah, I just think being around other Hawaiians and becoming more Hawaiian in those early days was it really shaped me and kind of honed who I am today. Because, even though I fight for Hawaiian rights and all of that, I still have a broader perspective about taking care of others. And to me, that's what being a Hawaiian is also, is to not just think about yourself, but to think about your broader community, the allies in your community. Think more of in an ahupua kind of mindset.
Yeah, and the thing I like about you, and it's really refreshing, especially when we were talking yesterday, is knowing that you care more, not more, you care about others as well. Hawaii, Hawaiian, that's our people. We always gonna put them first.
Yeah.
But we still take in the Filipinos, the Haules, all the other races, right?
Yeah.
It's not a very exclusive thing, right?
Right.
And I do believe that's how I would, I guess explain what a Hawaiian mentality is, is just caring for others and not just ourselves and our immediate community, but everybody around us. So I think that's the really cool thing that you guys are doing, especially with the ʻāina days.
Yeah.
I haven't had a chance to go yet, but soon. But I know that brings in a whole diverse group of people as well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, about maybe I would say maybe 70% of the people that come to ʻāina days is non-Hawaiian. But they still get the full history. When you come to ʻāina days, for us, it's every last Saturday of the month. We open the gates. We're a gated community, of course, because we're a nation. But we open those gates, kind of like Willy Wonka. We let people into the wonderland. So we let people in, and they get to see what for us, what an independent Hawaii can and will look like in the future, and what it looks like presently. And we give them the full history of how we got there, because without the history, without the context to understand why we got there, it really doesn't do it justice. But when you understand this beautiful place that you're looking at was just a dream to people that was occupying a beach park for their rights, their sovereignty and all of that. And so giving everybody this context in the very beginning, whether you're Hawaiian or you're not Hawaiian, it hits you. You know what I mean? And then we're not like lecturing these guys and telling them, we got to get America back, and we gotta anti this, and no, we explain to them why we got here and what are you doing here. And the most important thing I think we try and share with people is that no matter if you're Hawaiian or you're not Hawaiian, if you're in Hawaii, you gotta have kuleana to Hawaii, because the ahupua'a system that we think is like something of the past still exists on our island today. It's like an overlay. It's like a mist. It's a ano. It's a spirit that still exists today. Our islands is a spirit. Our islands is a living and breathing thing, and you cannot just go somewhere and extract everything from it and not expect there to be some sort of like cause and effect. And I tell people, if you're in Hawaii, even for a little while, you need to have kuleana for Hawaii, because Hawaii is a reciprocal thing. Because once you have kuleana here, and once you find that kuleana, now you're going to begin to see the Hawaii that we see as Kanaka, that we all experience now. And I think that's what really kind of catches people, because, a lot of these guys, they don't know how to plug in. They don't know where to start. They don't know how to be allies. They don't know how to do all these things. So we start them off at the ground level with serving ʻāina, because that's, for us, that's how we like to, envision ourselves as we servants to this ʻāina, we servants to our people. But when you live in this way, you begin to see all these opportunities that open up for you. People meet new friends, they meet like-minded people at our ʻāina days. It just creates a sense of community that I think a lot of people in Hawaii don't have anymore. And so that's what we're trying to foster, because if we're going to have this independent Hawaii, in the future, it's not going to be just Hawaiians. It's going to be non-Hawaiians too, but they got to understand that they got to protect Hawaii just as much as we protect Hawaii too. So starting them off on the ʻāina, caring for things, it changes a little bit of their mentality.
Yeah, and I love how you give them context, because that's so important. Even in the Hawaiian language, right? It's a contextual language.
Yeah.
Right? To understand it, you're going to have to know these context clues. And that's why I like to start the podcast learning about my guests, to see where their heart is and how their upbringing shaped them to be where they're at today.
Yeah.
I want to go a little bit back, and we'll talk more about the nation. But when you were growing up, when you moved to Waimanalo, what was that time like? Because that was a really pivotal time for the Hawaiians. There was a lot of protests. There was a Hawaiian Renaissance going on. There was a lot of injustices, a lot of the trickle effects from the overthrow in 1893.
Yeah. Well, for me, growing up in the homestead, I got to kind of like witness, these things happening at the same time when we was moving in. So, had the occupation that the nation was leading down at Makapu'u, and, had other things going on. And, but I grew up very like American Hawaiian. I grew up very like, my parents was real straight-laced. My whole family is kind of pretty much like, we wasn't sovereignty activists growing up.
Is this your uncle?
It was just my uncle. And even though my uncle is related to us, we never used to hang out with my uncle, because, like, my uncle was hot. That kind, like, you kind of get too, because, we never, like, go jail. My family, they never, like, the only person that really kind of, like, like really followed my uncle and like really liked what he was doing was my grandma. So my grandma is kind of the one who kind of shaped and molded me. She was a little bit kind of rascal, hard-head kind, and she loved her yard, but she was a very kind person, but she could also be very like snappy with people and stuff like that. But I know that, she liked what was going on, and she liked, she took us to events. Like, so she took me to the march at Iolani Palace with some of my cousins and stuff like that. So I got to grow up watching the movement, but not really being a part of the movement. So I grew up, for most of my life actually just kind of like doing my thing as a normal Hawaiian, or what I would consider a normal Hawaiian. Just, yeah, I'm Hawaiian, but I get my regular life to deal with. I never thought of stuff like kuleana and all that. Not till I got older and started to do these things. So I just grew up like on regular Hawaiian in the homestead. We got into like mischief like most kids. I played sports.
For what school? What school you in?
I went to Kailua High School. We played, and for me, like my parents wasn't really into sports, so they never really care. So I would like start, playing sports and all that. Then I would like quit halfway and then go play park league or something, because I was very like, I grew up very disciplined at home. And so when I went to school, I went to play sports and all that, I didn't like all that discipline. So so I would kind of like rebel against my coaches because they couldn't give me lickings, but like my mom them,
What you gonna do, huh?
Yeah.
Hit me, right?
Yeah. I started acting up with them. So of course, get out of here, kind. But I mean, but I just grew up as like on regular, like every other kid in Waimanalo and the homesteads that we see today.
Okay.
But very much like outdoors, we never had iPhones or iPads, so we grew up playing on the streets and, the regular thing.
Yeah. So once you graduated from Kailua, what did you end up doing?
I worked at Long's, actually.
Oh, Long.
Yeah.
Nice.
So I worked at Long's when I was 16. I started. My neighbor, she was the receiving manager, my grandma's good friend, and she was like, boy, what, you like one job? I know you hate working in the yard with your grandma, everything. Because my grandma, I was her favorite, but then I was also her favorite worker. So, I mean, every day we was in the yard. And my grandma, she had an immaculate yard. And so, like, even like when all my neighbors was going beach, like even my sister was ready for go beach. I couldn't go until I went weed like one portion of the yard and all that. I was like getting tired of it. So like, I never like go summer school again. So she was like, boy, what, you like one job? I goes, yeah, auntie, I like one job. She said, well, okay, just come down here. So I started working at Long's when I was 16. And actually I worked there all the way till I was 29.
Oh, wow. So you were there for 13 years.
I was there for 13 years. Yeah, I was like...
Long's, there's a Long's in Waimanalo?
In Kailua.
Oh, Kailua. Okay.
Yeah. So I started off as like bag boy, and then I became clerk, then I became manager.
Okay.
So.
At least had AC in there.
Had AC, yeah. And like had Spam and had all everything else. And Vienna
That's
sausage.
where you started to
Yeah. I had my stockpile.
Yeah.
See what I mean? And now I never had my stockpile and I was mad.
So when did your, I guess, mindset and your perspective of life switch to, this, pretty westernized lifestyle?
Very.
But Hawaiian rooted, especially at home and with your family. But it's the same with me, right? I went Hawaiian immersion school, but I go home, I'm playing video games, watching American TV, and doing all the things that normal kids do, right? Playing sports, all of that. But yeah, for you, when did it all shift?
Well, when I got fired from Long.
Oh.
So like when I was 29, I mean, I was a young manager, so I used to do all kind of Kaloi stuff, but, I ended up getting fired from Long's, but I never realized, like, you could collect unemployment, like, when you get fired, and so, like, I was all kind of pissed off, and kind of sad about it. It was, like, the worst day of my life, like, that's... I think if I never got fired at Long's, I'd still be at Long's today.
Wow.
Yeah, so, like, what I thought was the worst day of my life or the worst time of my life actually created like who I am today. And so, yeah, I got fired from Long's, but I had met my uncle Bumpy, like years earlier. We used to play poker together.
Nice.
And at that time, my uncle took a little break to go play poker, a little bit break from the movement. And we used to like play these kind of like underground poker games and stuff. And I was kind of good at poker. So I used to, that was like Actually, I used to live off of my poker winnings.
Wow,
And,
I have a friend that used to do that. You ever seen you ever seen Fiji at those games?
Oh,
Hey, rest in love,
maybe,
Fiji.
maybe not.
Rest in
Yeah,
love. We
Hey,
miss you.
Yeah, we miss Fiji. But yeah, I mean, you'd be surprised who was at some of those games.
Cannot tell.
Yeah. I don't like speak ill
Yeah,
of
yeah,
people, but I mean, I met Uncle at these games, and when I seen Uncle for the first time at one of these games, I was like awestruck because like that's somebody I grew up like watching on TV, seeing this guy, and so I was like, there's so much things I like ask him, but we sit on poker table, and then we had one little break at that game, and I was talking with him on the side. I go, oh, Uncle, what is sovereignty? I asked like one real random question. I was like, so what, Uncle? We gonna get all the land back, or we gonna get the kingdom? Something real silly. And he was like, boy, this is not the place for talk about this. We just go focus on this. And now that I know today what my uncle is thinking about and talking about, and his focus, it was like, this is not the place for this, because if we're going to start talking about this, it's much deeper than anything I can tell you right now. So let's not even go there. So actually, I built this friendship with my uncle, over those years and stuff like that. So when I get fired at Long's, and I never know what to do, I remembered that conversation that my uncle told me that, this is not the time, but when you get extra time, maybe we can talk about him. And I thought to myself, okay, yeah, I'm going to collect unemployment, and yeah, I can go look for another thing for do. But I was like, I really like learn from my uncle. I like, now I get time, uncle, you know what I mean? I never had time back then, but I got the time today. So I went to go check out my uncle, and I told him, yeah, just like hang out and, like see what you do. And so I've been there ever since.
Wow. Speaking about time, and we'll get back to the movement. There's a concept that we know here in Hawaii as Hawaiian time, right?
Right.
Island time. And island time is a real thing. I will admit that. I will say it's pretty true. I mean, even when I was in Madagascar, you think Hawaiian time was bad. Oh, Malagasy time was like 3 hours more. No, it's crazy. But I think it's just a different pace of life. When you're living on an island, it is what it is, as Max Holloway says. But you came here 40 minutes early. I gotta put that on record. You came 40 minutes early. You got
I came
here
for
before
help set up.
Yeah, you were here before I was even here. But yeah, I do want to talk. Is Hawaiian time a real thing, and is that like is it like a sensitive term that we use these days now, because people want to try to shift the narrative of things, right?
I mean, I think the people that keep showing up late, they're perpetuating the Hawaiian time.
You're not helping us.
Yeah, bro. You're not doing us any justice. But like, I think, to me, I can see that, because people, they kind of like move at their own pace and all that. But to me, I think Hawaiians never used to think like that. Like, to me, like, Hawaiian time, like, really is about respect. Like, if I'm gonna be somewhere to meet somebody that I agree to meet, it's my obligation to meet you at that time, if not earlier, to make sure I'm there on time, because I respect your time. And I respect who you are, and I respect, the importance of the conversation and all of that. All of that factors into my mind. So anywhere I go, especially if I'm meeting somebody that, I made time for, you made time for me, I show up early, and as early as possible, because I respect you, I respect the time, I respect what we're going to do in the place. Now, if I never care and all that, then, I would just kind of move at my own pace. But also, I think my wife kind of keep me in line with a lot of these things. So they don't like to be late. Also, another person that doesn't like to be late is Uncle Bumpy. He don't like to be late. So I think if you hang around with people that are always on time, you begin to kind of like change your mindset. But you hang around with guys that show up whenever they like show up. I think we all just kind of like do that. And that's kind of weird to me, because I get, I understand, but I get kind of irritated when people don't show up on time.
Yeah, I like to think of myself as a very punctual person.
Yeah.
You know, they say if you're not on time, you're late.
Yeah.
I was just thinking about this recently because I like to show up like exactly. Like if it's 5 o'clock, I like to show up exactly at 5 o'clock.
Right.
And I think when I was driving a couple days ago, I was thinking about this. I'm like, why don't I just like try to get there earlier? Like, I don't know. In my mind, I just like, I time it from my house. I look at the map. I'm like, okay, I'm going to get this there exactly at this
so
time.
your car is rolling.
Or yeah, I'm just like, I'm trying to just like time it. And if I'm late, then I try to go faster on the road. But I think it's because it's like, I see it as a game.
Right.
And it's like a challenge for me. I'm just like, can I get it exactly on this? It's like closest to the wall, you know? Or something. It's like, can you get it as close to the wall as possible?
Without going over, without going under.
So I think that might just be a thing for me that I like the challenge of trying to get there exactly at the time. So I can be like, look at this, 5 o'clock.
Yeah.
So
Well, you and text me at like, we're supposed to meet at 9:30. I think that kind of call and text me at like 9:27.
Yeah, it was cool.
We here.
Yeah, and that's because we ended up just getting there a little bit early because I had to go at cohort. But if I didn't have to pick him up, I probably would have just
rolled right
there.
in.
Yeah. Because I had to map 2 places, his house and then yours, and I didn't know how long it would take over there. So yeah. But usually if I just have one route, it's just like that's what I'm doing. But yeah, I think it's a respect thing, right?
Yeah.
Like especially if you're doing business and meeting with higher level people, you want to respect their time, right?
Or anybody, you know. To me, it's like, you know, I don't care if you're the governor. I don't care if you just want, you know, you just one brother that would message me out of the blue. Like you know, people be surprised. I spend time and I take time out of my day to meet with just anybody that, you know, like, I mean, I not all the time, but like if people catch me on like the right time, I'll meet them and I'll put time aside to like talk with them about sovereignty for like hours, and I'll show up on time because that's how important it is to me, you know, this subject and other people's time. But
yeah, right on. Well, I want to say it's really cool learning about what you're doing because for me especially, and this will probably be the same for a lot of people too, when we think of sovereignty, it's almost like this in your face kind of thing, right? Like, F America, like you mentioned, anti this, anti that, Hawaiians only, you know?
Right.
Like, let's get our land back, and we're not, like the Haunani Ke Trash, like, you know, we are not Americans, we are Hawaiian, we will die as Hawaiian. But I think you're kind of breaking down barriers with what you're doing, making it accessible for everybody, right? And to me, because I've talked with many people in the sovereignty movement, you know, Leonsu, Keanu Sai, and other people, I'm not really involved in trying to get like the actual sovereignty back on paper. Like I do love the idea of having like a sovereign mindset, living a sovereign lifestyle, because to me that's more accessible. You know, where I can be like, you know, I may not have like my own land, or I'm not a part of America just yet, but I can, you know, do these small things like grow my own food, or like think in this certain way, think in a Hawaiian way over like an American way, have a Hawaiian lifestyle over an American lifestyle.
Right.
So that's a thing that I think is more accessible for people. And I think you're doing both.
Yeah.
So which is really cool.
Yeah. Well, you know, for the people that are kind of in your face, like Haunani Trash, even like Uncle Bumpy, you know, back in the day, I think at that time they needed to be like that. And even people today that express their sovereignty in these more kind of like upfront ways. I mean, I don't, you know, I kind of critique what they feel, because it's a trauma that we're all dealing with, and you know, understanding it and going through it is like, you know, people go through it different ways. I just do it the way I do it is because this is my personality. You know what I mean? I'm not a real aggressive, upfront kind of person. I'm kind of like this. So for me to turn into an aggressive, upfront person, it would just look weird.
It wouldn't be authentic.
It wouldn't be authentic. Yeah, that's not me. Like, this is me. And, you know, and I think it's just that's my form of communication, is to be a little bit more open. But then now when I view it in you know, in this whole context of like creating a critical mass, in order to make change happen. It's helped me communicate with a lot more people in a easier way, which is more my speed, because it's accessible, right? And the message is accessible, and I can talk plainly to people. I'm not talking from up here looking down on you, or I'm not coming from this like, you cannot, you're not sovereign, and all this kind of stuff. I'm trying to actually relate with you on a very like deep level, because like I want this for you. You know what I mean? Because if you have sovereignty and you believe in this, that helps me. Like, sovereignty is not something you can just give to somebody, by just sitting in a room. And that's the thing, going back to what Uncle Bumpy was talking about when I first met him. I wanted Uncle Bumpy to give sovereignty to me, really. With my dumb question about, how are we going to get the land back, or the how's the kingdom and all this kind of stuff. I wanted him to put his 40 years life experience into me with just a few words. And I realized all these years later that will never happen. Like, if I sit with you in one room and we talk and we go through all the laws, and I show you where we never lost our sovereignty and all that, I can tell you all these things and you can hear them, but it didn't click with you, then it doesn't matter. In order for for you to have sovereignty, you have to believe in it. So I have to be able to communicate to you in a way where you can relate to it, and you can see yourself in me, or see yourself in Uncle Bumpy, or see yourself like living this way. But if I talk to you like you can never be like me, or you can never get to my level, then I won't ever get to you. I won't ever make you part of our team, or and help with the cause and help with the movement. And that's the idea, is like, we're not going to do this by ourselves. Me and Uncle Bumpy is not going to get Hawaii back for everybody. Me, Uncle Bumpy, Keanu Sai, Leoncio, I don't care who you pull out of the woodworks. Us few people aren't going to do it. It's going to take a critical mass of Hawaiians, non-Hawaiians, in order to make this happen. And so I have to be able to communicate with all people and get them to be on the team.
Yeah, I think it's a little bit more of a global perspective as well, where you see the macro view of it.
Yeah.
It's like some people have a very narrow minded way of thinking, and they kind of live in echo chambers. They're very exclusive. Like, this is the only way. If you don't want to do it like this, then you're not part of this movement.
Well, it's not to say that I wasn't like that too. When I first got into the movement, I was very kind of like that. Why?
What
Because
changed?
Well, in the very beginning, like, I got onto like social media really late. I think I got onto like Facebook in like 2015 or 2016 and stuff, because I was trying to help my uncle do this thing with the state, and we was doing this like political process thing. And so and I would hear all these guys talking crap about Uncle Bumpy because we stay helping, like, to do this constitutional convention and all of that. And so I took them personal. And like, every time somebody was like, talking smack about him, I purposely signed up for social media to troll these guys. Like, that was my whole purpose of why I was on social media.
Social media security guard.
Social media bouncer. And like, anybody said anything about Uncle, I was there. And I would just like go at it with these guys. And I think, looking back, I was learning like who I was as a, newly found Hawaiian National, and so I was going through the steps. I was going through the processes of, whatever you call it, trauma or whatever it is. And I think just over the years, what I figured out was that, like, you'll never get anybody on your side by winning an argument. Like, I talked to my therapist, and one of the famous things she always tell me is, you can either be right or you can be married.
Yep.
You know, so it's like, and so that totally made me shift my focus. Was like, you know, because before, you know, when people used to talk about my uncle and all that, and then I used to tell them, but what you did? What, you ever got lands? You ever went occupy the beach and all that? And I was like trying to prove my point by telling them what my uncle did and what you never do. But what I never realized at the time was that, you know, like, I'm never going to change somebody's mind by pointing out what they cannot do and what we did and all that. They'll always resent us no matter what. And so now I kind of think of it as a different way. And I see other people doing that. You know what I mean? And it's like, I try tell them and I try share like, oh, maybe you can do it another way. But I try not to also, because they gotta like figure that out on their own sometimes. And so the best way I can do that is by showing by example.
Yeah, well, sharing your story exactly like this.
Sharing my story, yeah, sharing our triumphs, sharing our stuff. You know, so I'll rarely down another Hawaiian. I'm not perfect, you know what I mean? I do get into it with other Hawaiians still yet because guys like act up, you know what I mean? I you know, I'm not sweet. Like I still come after you. But I also know that like that's not the point. Like the point is not to win the argument. The point is to win them over, you know, through what I can share through my own experience, you know, hopefully, or to the stories, or just by providing one space for them to, you know, like us for meet. Actually, I utilize social media to create a way for us to meet in person. Like in person is way more powerful than social media.
Yeah. People get all big body over social media behind the screen.
Yeah. And like people trip out when they meet me in person. They're like,
this guy's tall.
Bruh, this guy
is scary in person. I'm happy he's on my side.
But I think for our people that do communicate in this way, I think it's just they're learning. You know what I mean? They're going through the process, and you know, I try and have grace for that, and I try and understand that, and yeah, because I was there.
Yeah, totally. And it builds empathy. And I think the more things you do, the more experience you have in life, the more you're able to be empathetic towards others. Yeah. And I think that's one of your strengths. And I can see that just from learning about you, you know, recently. And I think more people should be like that. But I guess, you know, it's all on their own time, right?
Well, I'm also old too, right? I'm going to be 44 next year. Yeah. So when I was younger, I was pretty aggressive and pretty stupid and you know, kind of talk before I listened, you know, and I think also being around like kupuna, you know, made me kind of like, you know, like I hang out with Uncle Bumpy like every single day, you know what I mean? And like when you hang around with kupuna, like winning arguments or being right and all that, that's not even part of the thing. They really don't care, because what you gonna tell him that you gonna be right on and he gonna be wrong on, and like why would you want to do that? So when that becomes less and less important, I think, and I think that's one thing we're missing in our lives is kupuna influence. You know, and most people, they kind of like don't give kupuna enough time, like to sit with your kupuna and all that. Like, because me, I grew up being raised by my grandma, and I love my grandma. My grandma is like my hero, you know. And when I lost my grandma, I lost my way a little bit, because like that was somebody that I would like always, you know. And so I see that in people like Uncle Bumpy and other kupunas. Like, you know, we gotta bring that back, because they really help to stabilize us. You know what I mean? And make us think clearly so we can get back on track. Because when we start thinking with our ego and we're trying to win one argument and all of that, we off track. That's not the subject we're on, you know what I mean? So,
for sure,
just those things. I think you know it, and plus they need the attention, our kupuna and our parents and all these people. Like, we gotta show them a little bit more of that.
Yeah, I agree. I think, you know, we have so many different influences, especially with social media, and that we get a lot of confirmation bias, you know, especially if you start following the same people who think like you, and that they're just affirming what you say. You build a following, and everybody's saying you're right. You know, you're so smart. They're agreeing with everything you say. You build this sort of God complex, and your ego is just huge.
Yeah.
So I think it's hard to pull that away, and especially with the distractions we have, it's like, why would I go and talk with my kupuna when I can be on social media reading all these comments about how awesome I am and seeing how many likes I get on social media and like looking at people who think differently than me and telling them that they're wrong. And, it's kind of like you're the judge, jury, and executioner.
Yeah.
So I think there's a lot of that, especially in the Hawaiian community. I mean, we hear the term crabs in the bucket. We hear, people saying Hawaiians always fighting with Hawaiians. The biggest critics of Hawaiians is Hawaiians.
Yeah.
It's very sad because it is true. Yeah. There's different extremes for those examples, but Chief of War is out, right now. By the time this episode comes out, it's already out. I'm so curious to see how the Hawaiian community is going to react to that. I saw it and I think it's beautiful, and like what they're doing, nobody has ever done for us before.
Right.
So regardless if it's 99% factually correct, or the Hawaiian was perfect, or it was 100% Native Hawaiian casting, like they're doing something that's never been done before, and it's moving us forward. So that's my mana'o for that. But we have more social media questions about these things. I do want to just learn a little bit more about the nation and what you're doing. One of the things that really surprised me when you gave me this book right here, it's like the guidebook, and it has like the apology law or the bill, whatever. It's called the
Apology law.
Apology law, yeah. All of that. And on this page at the end, where was it? It was like the steps, right?
Yeah.
Our projects right here. I don't know if people can see on the, if you're watching the YouTube or Spotify video. You have a digital nation building and metaverse project going on, which is super cool because, again, it could just be ignorance for me, but like when I think of sovereignty, I think of old Hawaii, right? I think of I don't think of technology or, digital media and stuff, but you have a project where you're working with technology, AI, the metaverse. That was super surprising for me. Can you tell us about that?
Yeah. Well, I mean, for us, like, you look at our population, over 50% of Hawaiians now live outside of Hawaii, and so what do we do there? Like, we forget those people, So we always looked at like creating like an online presence to keep our people like engaged here in Hawaii. You know what I mean? So when we look at projects like online, digitally, metaverse, all these things, it's really ways to kind of like meet our people where they're at. You know what I mean? Sovereignty is such a big lift and such a big thing that we're going to need everybody and everybody's support, or as much as we can get. And so we thought of creating our nation online because, one, we're able to reach Hawaiians that aren't here in Hawaii. Two, we're able to go somewhere where we can envision what that looks like without the trauma blocking us of how we're going to get there. Like the how we going to get there part blocks the vision of what we do when we get there, right? And we got to get past that trauma. Like when I talk to people today about Hawaiian independence, and I asked them, if you guys serious about this? Because I like know where you at, because if you're serious about this, for me, Hawaiian independence is already an inevitability in my mind. So I'm not thinking about the how we're going to get there anymore. I'm thinking about what we're going to do when we get there, how we build our education system, how we build our healthcare system, how do we build our food systems, our communication, our energy, and all of that. And frankly, in reality, we cannot do that right now. So maybe if we create something in the metaverse, we can play around with those concepts, play around with those ideas, because what you can do in the virtual reality, you can still utilize those concepts to kind of create what you want to see in reality before it's even here. So those are like two huge reasons. And then a third is there's no political barriers in the metaverse. There's nobody saying or disputing whether this land is our land or not. It's all sovereign. So it's a sovereign space, and it's a free space. So those are like the three biggest reasons. And then I think the fourth reason is our people have always been innovators. You know, you look at Kalakaua and what he did, you know, having electricity in Iolani Palace before the White House, you know, bringing Thomas Edison, helping to start, you know, Hawaiian Electric, the first, you know, energy company, like all of these things. And then you even look before Kalakaua. You look at Kamehameha and how he used Western weapons to unify the islands.
Kaiana going and getting
Kaiana, yeah, all of these different things, like, you know, and so our people were very much innovative. And I think if we never got overthrown and our timeline continued as an independent nation, that Hawaii would have been one of the most innovative places in the world.
Oof, that thought, you know, that's the image in my head of that chicken skin.
Yeah, because we're one thing with Hawaiians is we're fearless. We're fearless, you know what I mean? And that can be to our detriment too, right? We let people a little bit too much in. To me, that's what Aloha is. Aloha is the opposite of fear. You know, whatever fear creates, you know, whether it's hate, jealousy, you know, being scared, whatever it is, Aloha is its antithesis. So Aloha can be good, bad, and ugly sometimes. But I think with Aloha, you know, we were able to like look at other things and not be afraid that would change us, you know, like we could master that. And so, you know, and sometimes it worked and sometimes it didn't, obviously. But that Aloha that we have, I mean, translate into innovation and makes us like want to seek, you know, better ways to do things, especially because there's a huge need for it. Like Hawaii, the state of Hawaii, is 50th in innovation in the United States. We're so far behind on innovation. One of the big reasons is because there's monopolies set up here that keep all of that out. They keep innovation down because they don't want to share the space with these new emerging industries. And for me, as a Hawaiian national, thinking about how we build this nation, what kind of economy we want to have, like all of these things, I look at innovation as like an emerging field that our people can fill in. So we stop losing people to the mainland. They go to work in the mainland and you know and go school up there and stay up there, because otherwise, if you're gonna come back here, you're either gonna, you know, be one busboy or you're gonna work valet at one hotel and all that. Like, it's not these like huge paying jobs. And so, you know, we just feel like we gotta be at the edge of innovation at all times, and, you know, and try and just stay out there. Like, we were talking about digital currencies like way before this Bitcoin boom ever was happening, you know. Me and my uncle was playing around with AI like 4 years ago. You know, we created like, you know, treaties with ChatGPT like 3 years ago with other nations and stuff. We utilize technology because what we lack in manpower and you know, resources, we'll make up with innovation and tech. So that's why sometimes being in the struggle is a good thing, because if it all comes too easy to you, you become lazy and you don't try and search for a new creative way to do it. Because if you can just buy one lawyer and he can write all your documents for you, or, you know, you can just have staff, you know, write grants for you, it's easy. But when you don't have money to have one lawyer to you know, look through documents, to have people to write grants for you, when something like ChatGPT come out, oh, we on it. You know what I mean? We're trying to see how we can use them. You know, oh, now we don't need one grant writer. ChatGPT can just write the grant for us. Now we don't need one lawyer for look over contracts or write treaties. We can just have ChatGPT. So like all of these things, I think innovation is, you know, is always at the top of our mind.
Totally. I mean, I'm working with some friends who are doing really crazy things with AI. I was telling you the other day. I mean, my book that is out right now, like, we did a book interview. We took that interview. We had AI put it into a book format. So it's my words that's just formatted, and don't got to do the grammar, the spelling. Like, they put it right there. So what could have taken me years, more, you know, year, 2 years, however long, you know, especially with my schedule, to write, we did it in what, like 2 months, maybe less than. It could have been even shorter too if I had a little bit more time to edit. But it's crazy what it's doing. And I think this is a wave that is coming and it cannot be stopped. And it's either you're going to ride it or you're going to just get,
Yeah.
it's going to let it hit.
And like, it's, we gotta be at the forefront of these things because, like, to me, I don't look at the state of Hawaii and the United States as our enemy anymore. I focus on what our people are doing and how we can improve their lives. That's our goal and that's our mission. But I do look at innovation as ways where we can do stuff better than the state of Hawaii. And if we master these skills, we can take over the kuleana of these things and slowly begin to build the leverage that gets us back sovereignty. Because for us, sovereignty is already ingrained in us. What we lack right now is the leverage in order to get lands back, in order to get resources from the state, in order to get all these other things. But that's going to come. The first thing we got to understand is, do we have sovereignty or not? And once you understand that, now we can kind of plan for the future. And and people can use that in two different ways, right? They can use it to combat what the state is doing, and we should be doing those things. You know what I mean? We're the last line of defense for our lands, oceans, and waters. I mean, because these guys don't care about that right now because their main focus is economy, right? And so we got to be able to utilize our rights to be the last line of defense, but then also, like, I always look at, like, if we're taking on somebody, right? Like, take the TMT, for example, right? Okay, if our whole focus is fighting TMT, then we're just gonna be fighting until, like, these guys is totally gone. And sometimes that might take a long, long time. But if we can come up with a solution for TMT that is way better, now we're hitting them with two prongs instead of just, like, chasing them, like telling them, no, you no can, no, you no can, But if I can tell them, no, you no can, because this is better, then they cannot really run away from us forever. Then we're cornering them. Then we're getting rid of the problem altogether. So I always look at, utilizing sovereignty, but then also utilizing innovative solutions to accomplish the same goal and do it better, more cleaner, more efficiently, and more equitable for our people.
That's awesome. That's super awesome. I want to get into one last thing before we take a shishi break. What is sovereignty to you? Because for someone like me who has a general knowledge of it, I'm thinking okay, land back, like being a part of America. Is that it? And what is the goal of the nation?
To me, sovereignty is self-governing, self-determination. To me, it's about helping to ensure that our people are provided for. It means independence. It means that what we say goes. So there's no outside jurisdiction that can come and override you, or no outside corporation that will come and override you. If we tell you, can build on this beach, you're not building. That's sovereignty. When we tell you no, and it's the authority of that. Or we tell you yes, it's the authority of that. For our people to have that autonomy and that authority to make decisions in our homelands, that's sovereignty to me.
Awesome.
And I think that the vision for the nation of Hawaii has been the vision from the very beginning, and it's independence. It's total independence from the United States. So it's restoring what we had prior to 1893. You'll hear other forms of sovereignty being talked about sometimes with other people, not as much now, but before they used to have this thing called federal recognition. And that was talked about because Native Americans have that status with the United States where they have their own type of sovereignty, but which is underneath the United States jurisdiction. So they have reservations, but if federal agents wanted to go onto their reservation to go chase down, somebody that ran from them, They don't need to ask their government if they can enter their nation. But if they was to chase somebody down in Canada, they would have to ask Canada if they can come in. So to me, that federal recognition is not enough sovereignty for us because it doesn't give us that jurisdiction to be the ultimate authority, whether to say yes or no. With independence, it does. And also, when America apologized for overthrowing our government, they apologized for overthrowing an independent nation, not a tribe that they governed over as well. You know what I mean? It's like taking in your Lamborghini to the shop and then they tell you, oh, come pick up your car, and you're pulling out one Toyota Corolla and they go, oh, here's your car. They're like, no, this is not my car. You go, no, it got four wheels and windows and doors.
Close enough.
Yeah, it's close, but it's not. It's a less than form of government, and to me, that's the difference between federal recognition and independence. Like, I don't want the Corolla. I want the Lamborghini because that's what you apologize for taking.
Yeah, and you gave me the official apology bill over here, and it's really long. I've never actually seen it before or read it. One of the cool things, I mean, they go over so many things. Whereas.
Yeah.
One of the cool things is it says like the term it explains the term Native Hawaiian. It says, as used in this joint resolution, the term Native Hawaiian means any individual who is a descendant of the Aboriginal people who prior to 1778 occupied and exercised sovereignty in the area that now constitutes the state of Hawaii. It's always interesting for me to hear definitions of what a Hawaiian is because we get opinions about what it is,
Right.
but to see it actually written down, like if I went to vehevehe.org and it said Hawaiian, or if I see something like that, then I feel like it's just it's something that we can reference,
Right.
So a lot of it, when we explain, oh, what's a Hawaiian to you, we give our definition of what a Hawaiian is to me, to you, to somebody else, right? But it's interesting for me to read that and see like, oh, Aboriginal people.
Yeah. No, I mean, because as we get older and generations and generations come, you're gonna have people that are gonna try and assimilate and be us. You're already seeing it now. And so sometimes we gotta define these things, not to like separate us or not to make us feel like, but to defend, like, I had a Hawaiian ancestor. This is my lineage. This is my mo'oku'auhau. This is what ties me here to this ʻāina. And then this is why it's important for you to hear the stories and the dance that I come from. It's not just because I look Hawaiian now I can be Hawaiian, or I hang out with Hawaiians, I'm Hawaiian too. No, we have to make sure that we understand what the mo'oku'auhau is of this person speaking. Because the ike and the mana'o of our people go back, all the way to the beginning of time, and it's tied to this land. And so we got to understand that, sometimes they're able to tap into that and tell us things from way back. Like I do this a lot when I'm talking, is like, I feel like I'm channeling my ancestors because, I just start blabbering and, you know this, I mean, I just keep going, but I feel like that's my kupuna speaking through me about things that they want us to hear. And like, if you cannot do that, like that's not, or you cannot connect to that ancestor, then, and you're pretending to be Hawaiian, that's dangerous. You know what I mean? Everybody should be proud of who they are, whether they're Japanese, Filipino, Chinese, you know what I mean? Everybody should be proud. You shouldn't be pretending to be other people. But to me, the apology law is like, the reason why it's important is it's one of 5 apologies that America has ever given in its 250-year history of shenanigans, of overthrowing governments, of, creating, basically, doing genocide to a lot of different people. It's happening still yet to this day. But we have this apology that got turned into a law. And I don't know if you guys ever understand like how laws get created. I mean, people rarely see it today because these Congress people cannot get together to actually make laws anymore because everybody is fighting. But we got a law passed that says that the Hawaiian people have never relinquished their sovereignty over their lands, over their identity themselves. It also says that we had 1.8 million acres stolen from us without compensation to us. 1.8 million acres is all the ceded lands in Hawaii. It's the entire state of Hawaii land inventory. It's the airport, it's the stadium, it's these buildings downtown, the palace, where we're at, where we occupied at Makapu'u. And it's important for our people to understand that this apology wasn't just some, where you make them like Bruno Mars Day kind and like, it's just like this nominal thing. No, it's law. It can never be like pulled away. This is fact. Every whereas clause that you read inside this apology law is a finding of fact through Congress. So they had to fact check all of these things. So everything that is said in this apology law, and you can read through them, there's about 37 whereas clauses. It seems long, but really, like I never went to the University of Hawaii to learn Hawaiian studies. I never went to any kind of formal education. I barely graduated high school. My entire sovereignty education is in this law. Everything I know, everything I talk about, and then the experience that I've had utilizing this law to exercise that sovereignty on the lands that we're doing. That's my entire knowledge of Hawaiian sovereignty. And, not to like, boost my own ego, but I can talk about sovereignty with anybody in the world on any panel because this is my foundation.
You're an
apology
expert
law.
in it. You put your 10,000 hours into it.
Yeah. I put my 10,000 hours in it. I can talk on this level with the professors, with government officials, or I can talk brada right now because it's something I live. But that foundation is rooted in this law, and a lot of people don't give this law enough attention. And I think, for our people, understanding this law is not just to like check them off your box and say, okay, now that I know the law, I get sovereignty. Well, if you don't believe in the law, you read it and all that, but you don't really believe in it, then you're not there yet. So the idea is to read the law, maybe read them a couple times. It took me a while to really feel like the way I feel about it. But, once you get it, or once you're in a room and you pull this out, so whether you're in like one room with one government official and all that, and this happens to me a lot when I'm talking to different government officials when they kind of push back on I talked to some guys in the legislature, like, we doing anything for reconciliation this year for Hawaiians? Are you guys, is that on the menu and stuff? I don't know. We didn't really consider it. We got the Trump cuts we're dealing with, and then before was COVID, and there's always some sort of excuse. So I go, well, you know that there's a law, right, that mandates you to do this. You go, what law? And I pull out the apology law. Because they're thinking we coming with kingdom law, and then we're going to come with, this is from the Hague, or this is the Genocide Act, and, this is from the UN. No. I'm coming to you with your own law and your own authority. You need to understand that this is backed. All my actions that I'm doing right now is not backed by kingdom law or my own entitled opinion of what my family is owed. I'm talking about something that you guys already admitted that you were supposed to do for our people. When is this gonna happen?
Yeah, you got the receipts.
Got the receipts, gangy.
I keep receipts.
It's happening, whether you like it or not.
Yeah, and it's cool to learn more about this, and also just the history of like America's only apologized 5 times in their whole entire history, and something that you said yesterday too, that America hasn't even apologized to, a lot of the Native Americans. They haven't even apologized for slavery, but they apologized to us, which is huge. Yeah. I mean, it's crazy that they haven't apologized for slavery, and I think you said because they can. There's what is it like? You
can still make the argument that slavery was okay. Yeah. Like one of Martin Luther King's dreams was that African Americans would actually get an apology from the United States because, his lawyers was telling him too, like, if they apologize for slavery, then you guys can have reparations. Like, we can go through with the process. But if we constantly like arguing about whether it was good or bad, you never get to that point. Like I was telling you yesterday, reconciliation, is a big word. Reconciliation is to make right something, right? Yeah.
Is that what it is?
No. It's not.
Oh, my bad. Continue. My bad.
But reconciliation is basically when you make right with somebody that's been hurt. And it's a hard thing to happen because people are constantly arguing about the details of what got hurt, what got lost, what is this, what is that. And so that is sometimes used by the people that hurt the other guys as a way to stall the reconciliation process. So even before they start talking, they're going to argue about, oh, you guys never really lost this. Oh, you guys never really lost that. And then they just keep going back and forth. The longer they take, the longer it's never going to happen. But with the apology law, they admit to all these things that we can at least start the conversation there. Because reconciliation starts when two people get to a table to sit down and talk about how we're going to fix this. But if we're constantly arguing about the table, then it'll never happen. The apology law is that table for the reconciliation discussion to begin. And that's where we'd like to start at all times, because they already admit in the apology law, something that us as Hawaiians and the United States can agree is we never relinquish our sovereignty. It's in the law. Legally, Hawaiians have never relinquished our sovereignty. So guess what, Hawaiian? Your sovereignty still is inside you. If we form one government, we don't need to go back to the United States and ask them if that's okay or not, or ask the state of Hawaii if that's okay. If we want to do it, we have the legal right to do it, not just under international law, but also United States law. It's a federal law. We have our sovereignty. 2, it also says that they took 1.8 million acres from our people illegally, meaning the 1.8 million acres is ours. We have an undivided interest to all of that. These are things that is foundational to reconciliation because already the United States agreed and we agreed. The reason why reconciliation hasn't happened yet for our people is we stay at the table that we agreed to, but the other guy, the government, whoever it is pretending like they don't know where the tables stay. Is walking around, stalling basically. Yeah, exactly.
What did you say? It's like you did an example of like the
blind guy.
person. That's what Uncle Bumpy basically did, right? He's just trying to feel around, see what the limits are, right?
Yeah. And these guys pretending like they're blind, like they don't know where the table is, right?
How much can they get away with until they get caught?
Exactly. Yeah. So the trick now is how do we leverage them to the table? What do we do to bring the state or the United States to the table to begin these discussions for reconciliation?
We parent trap them.
What you mean by that?
I just the movie Parent Trap where they pretend to get two people like they're the parents
set them up.
They get divorced and then they bring them to the same place. So we get the two sides and we say you're going to this to watch the new Superman movie or something, and then they come, we're gonna watch the Superman movie, and then boom. You gotta go talk to each other.
That's the way.
Hey, I'm just the idea guy.
Hey, we need more
I'm just
ideas.
The idea guy.
We need more ideas than less ideas. We'll try that one day.
Yeah, okay. I'll take credit for it.
Yeah.
Okay, let's take a quick shishi break and we'll be right back.
Kalea Hop Water is a sparkling, hop-infused beverage with bright, tropical flavors and the refreshing essence of island life. With 0 alcohol, 0 carbs, and 0 calories. Kalea brings aloha in every bubble.
All right, we're back from a quick shishi break. Mahalo to our drink sponsors, Kolea Sparkling Hop Water. Brandon was saying that his grandma used to call haules kolea. Yeah. Like the kolea bird, because they migrate from Alaska to Hawaii. So that's cool. The The kupuna always had a way with words.
Yeah.
Creative way of
Yeah.
of saying things too.
Instead of calling them effing Holly.
Yeah, a little bit nicer. Yeah.
Yeah.
You're a migratory bird.
Yeah.
All right. Let's get into the social media fan questions. First one comes from Keoni_DeFranco. This person says, "What does a network of autonomous, self-governing pu'uhonuas look like?"
Oh.
He came at you with the hard questions.
I
right
bet
at
you
the
nobody could answer this question, but I can. To me, it's really communities working together for the betterment of the greater Lahui, the greater people like Emma, from Moonkind Things. Like she's creating her own kind of group that kind of takes care of each other, right? With food, with services, health, all these different things. And it's going to look different, I think, in different communities, right? Like Waimanalo, we have the Pu'uhonua, but a Pu'uhonua in, say, Manoa might look different, or Kahuku might look different. But I think the idea is that in these communities, what we've shown an example of is like you can actually build a community yourself if you have like some carpenters, if you have an electrician, if you have a plumber, if you have somebody that knows how to operate machines. Like you can actually like just we had this conversation yesterday. Like if if we was gonna have one ship and you gotta like create one village somewhere and you gotta sail to another island. Like who would you have on these islands? Like these are the types of people that would be in this community. And so I think to me that's the future, because like it's the practice of sovereignty. When we talk about sovereignty, I'm talking about independence. And when I talk to the kids today about independence, I tell them that the enemy of Hawaiian independence today is not the government, it's our own dependencies. So if we can solve for those dependencies ourselves, if we can feed ourselves, if we can house ourselves, if we can, create our own energy, like all these different things, we can be independent, and we don't need permission from the United States or any other government. And so I look at these autonomous communities, these pu'uhonuas, as a way to like really begin the process of sovereignty. Because Hawaiian independence, like, what people think of Hawaiian independence and what I think of Hawaiian independence is probably two drastic things. People may think Hawaiian independence as we got to get the U.S. out of here, everybody, the military, everybody, all out. But I think of Hawaiian independence as like independence, like creating these communities where we're totally self-sufficient and independent. And that's what I think Keoni is kind of asking, like, what would that look like? And it's going to look like a pu'uhonua.
Yeah. Okay, so doing this, does that mean you can't go and eat at McDonald's, shop at Costco, or go to restaurants outside of that pu'uhonua or that community?
I mean, I think what it is, it's just like learning Hawaiian language, right? When you first start off, you got to kind of take it slow, right? And you kind of ease into it. And so same thing with independence and sovereignty. We gotta like start slow. So we start with our ohanas, and then like learning how to like what we can do. Kind of, you said it earlier, like how can I be more sovereign at home? Grow a garden, acquire some of these skills so I don't need call one carpenter for go fix my light and all this. Like it starts there. And so I think like slowly kind of weaning off outside systems is gonna be something that is gonna be an achievable goal. I don't think people can do it cold turkey just yet, but the idea is to support more Hawaiians. I think, instead of going and buying your vegetables at Costco's, find a Hawaiian farmer.
Farmer market and stuff.
Yeah. And find a Hawaiian farmer, and go even more deep.
Or like Daniel Anthony. With some
Right. But like, just people that are more aligned with you. I always think of it like in levels, like, okay, how I gonna go from shopping at Costco's for my food to buying from a farmer? It's gonna take a while, but it's gonna, I can't do it like overnight because, I probably can't afford it and they probably can't handle like that. But maybe instead of shopping at Costco's, I'll only just shop at Shima's, which is our local grocery store in Waimanalo. And then I'll slowly step down from Shima's to going to farmers markets, right? And then from farmers markets, I'll slowly step down to working directly with a farmer. And if I go even more deeper, I'll be a farmer. So it's just levels, just like Hawaiian language. You kind of just be one olelo expert in a couple of weeks. It takes time, but there are levels that are achievable that we can get to.
Nice. That's awesome. It's you're basically real life chat GPT where you just broke it down and these are the steps to take so you can be sovereign. That's super cool. Okay. But is there because when I just feel like there's almost this like pressure to do everything the old ways, right? Like barter system now, and you shouldn't be spending your money and supporting these other corporations and stuff like. But is there still a space for that? Like, is it still okay to like want to go eat at Roy's or something? Like, you want to have a nice dinner? Like, are people gonna be judging you because that's not sovereign or that's not? It just depends on the person,
right? Yeah, it's. I mean, I always think like when you talk about like investors and all that, they like to have a diversified portfolio. Same thing. I mean, like too much of like one thing is kind of throw off your balance, right? But I think there's still, like, you can still be a regular person, and like go have nice dinners and go, do all these other things. You don't need to be hardcore, like how, and put yourself through like, just these trials and tribulations just
to prove a point.
Just to prove a point, or just to be self-righteous, or just to say you did them so you can go scold somebody else and tell them, well, I did them. You know what I mean? I gave up all that. And like, well, why you cannot do them? Like, well, you did all that so that you can like scold me about it, or you did that for like a greater good? Because those are two different things, but I feel like people are sometimes challenging others to do things and get uncomfortable to just prove a point. And to me, it's not really that doesn't, I don't know. I don't see the positive in that. You know what I mean? I mean, it's okay if that's how people think, but I don't see how, like, we're not giving people the off-ramp to actually do that. Because if we're really thinking about getting more people involved, we kind of just leave them in the dust. We got to bring them along. We got to meet people where they're at. They're not at our level. You know what I mean? All the hardcores and all that. These people are not at that level. So we cannot go back a little bit and yell at them for, but you can't even get up here. Like, we got to go out there and go get them, because we need those people. The critical mass includes people outside of my inner circle. The critical mass, like in an ahupua'a, like the top guys and the bottom guys, there was so much that had to go through in order for the bottom guy to get water, but the top guy always was thinking about that person, so, and he made sure that these people always got their water all the way at the bottom, the farthest from the source. Sometimes he wouldn't even know them, but his duty was to reach them. And I think for us, if we're going to call ourselves leaders, or we want to bring people onto our team, we got to reach people that we don't even communicate with, that don't even get this yet, and see where they're at, and try give them one opportunity to get involved. Because people don't know what they don't know, and they don't understand what they don't feel comfortable in doing. So we got to get as close to them as possible, I believe.
Yeah. I mean, I align more with that way of thinking, rather than just like strapping somebody down to a chair, holding their eyes open, being like, look at everything that I'm doing. You gotta do it this way, and like it's a very aggressive way of doing it, right? And like I do love the fact that, like, for example, Emma has that community that are very supportive, and they're self-governing themselves.
Yeah, it's
But
beautiful.
and she's been on the podcast, and
Yeah.
she definitely throws me some shade every now and then. All love to
that's
you,
my
Emma.
tita. I love her.
But yeah,
That's how.
I can't say I love her, but like, I'm always gonna support Hawaiians. That's my bottom line.
Bottom
is
line.
I'm gonna support you even if you hate me.
Yeah,
whatever
yeah.
it is. But I just feel like, that way, just using it as an example,
Right.
it's a little bit more exclusive, and I feel like it does shut out some people. So
Yeah.
I just like the way that you do it better, because it's, like you said, meeting them where they're at, and like it feels a lot more approachable.
Well, I mean, people also don't like the way I do them too. You know what I mean? Everything is kind of its own.
Yeah, and it's because,
niche
like
kinda
I
thing.
said, I
Yeah.
align more with you.
Yeah,
because
yeah.
It's nicer. It's not as
yeah,
loud.
yeah.
And there are people who are like, oh, I love that. They got a lot of energy.
Oh,
they want to be yelling,
know.
and they want to fight the fight. And
I'm too boring for some people. Yeah. But it's just, it's just different ways, different things. And, like there are some Hawaiians that, like, everybody always like, oh, what about these guys? Or what about that guys? What do you think about them and all that? And me, I believe like if Hawaiians are empowered to do something rather than just, sit back and be a victim, and like actually do something about them, like, who are we to say anything? You know what I mean? It's like, but there are definitely different styles, and I applaud anybody getting involved, because the fact that you involved means we're gonna align somewhere along the ways, and like me, I'm all about like trying to align with other people. I'm not gonna align with everybody. There's just some people that they just cannot stand me, or they just cannot they don't believe, and it's not like, and I'm not here to like try and get them either. I'm just trying to make sure that the knowledge that I received and the things that I received gets passed down to the next person. I truly believe that, like, we live in an ahupua'a mentality and an ahupua'a mindset. And if I have access to this information and somebody took the time to teach me, like Uncle Bumpy did, like Auntie Gina did, like Uncle Steve did, like all my kupuna, like Johnny Kirkley did, like all these people that taught me about sovereignty in the village. Like, if they took the time to teach me, it wouldn't be Hawaiian for me to hoard that information. I got to be able to share that information. And that's why sometimes people got to watch when they message me and they like talk sovereignty or they like come visit and all that, because what you think is going to be like when, oh, I can squeeze this in, before I pick up my kids.
Exactly like yesterday for us.
Because do not make that mistake.
We were like 2 hours over there, like, because we were like, we were planning to get food after.
Yeah.
And then he said, I don't know if I got time. And like, I wasn't planning to be there that long. I thought we were just gonna go pop in, pop out, but 2 hours later, but it's awesome.
Yeah.
Right? I didn't want to leave.
But 2 hours is minimum. Really.
That's for me and this podcast, like 2 hours. So
do not make that mistake, because I'm all in. You know what I mean? I'm all in for you. So if you like make the time or you interested, I want to make sure that, because a lot of people sometimes too, this will probably be the first and last time we really get alone time to talk with each other, and I just like make sure that I'm doing the kupuna that taught me justice by giving you everything I can.
Yeah, totally. But I think with your experiences in life and your age now, you're a lot more mature and understanding of others. I think there are people who aren't at that level yet, and that's why I like what you're doing, and I like the way that you do it, because you're staying in your own lane, you're doing these things, and you're like, hey, you like come join? Yeah, come join. Oh, like join? Hey, it's okay. Shoots then, like
catch you down the road.
It catch you down the road. The other way is just like, oh, like join? Okay, F you then. Like that's how
There's
it is.
that way
too. I mean, and I just, I don't want to talk bad, but I mean, just from my experience with, moonkind things. That's how I feel as well. But I'm just like, just mind your business, do what you're doing, because what you're doing is good for your community, and you got supporters. Who cares about? And this goes for everybody. Who cares about what everybody else is doing? Just focus on what you're doing. Focus on what you're doing. Do it well, and people will join if they're aligned with it.
Right.
And that's what the nation is doing. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, all right. Keone has a follow-up question.
Oh,
He
this
says,
guy.
how do we build more pu'uhonuas?
How do we build more pu'uhonuas? Well, we built it through occupation, right? We occupied Makapu'u Beach for 15 months. We utilized the apology law, and we made the state give us land. That's how we built the pu'uhonua. You cannot just show up to DLNR and without one plan and tell them, I like land. Like, that never happens, right? So that's how we built ours, through asserting our sovereignty. The way that Pu'uhonua O Waimanalo has created their Pu'uhonua was, their house. They have a houses community, Auntie Twinkle Borge and her leadership down there. They're occupying Waianae Boat Harbor. And the way they created their Pu'uhonua was they created a nonprofit, and they raised funds, and they bought property up Mauka, which they're turning into Pu'uhonua O Waimanalo Mauka, and they're building their village and all that. But it's going to take collaborating with others. Bottom line. Mm-hmm. Pu'uhonuas are not going to be created when one, Mark Zuckerberg donate 10 million to one guy and he get to buy one property somewhere and he just make one whole, random container village and you just invite whoever is up there. Like, those that's not the way. Like, I think it needs to be, if we do get a donation, fine. But I think it's going to have to be built in a way where people have pilina with each other, creating a community, like Governor Green, they get this kauhales, right, for homeless people. And it's just basically tiny villages, tiny homes put together on a property, and you just throw 50 random people on top. And, that's a kauhale. Is like, but that's not a community, right? A pu'uhonua is a community. A community that people get along with. Get along and sometimes don't get along.
Well, they have more of a choice. Right?
Well, they have more pilina with each other. There's a relationship there rather than you just throw 50 strangers in 50 container homes.
Well, that sounds more like a dorm room.
Yeah.
Right?
Well, that sounds like a holding facility almost. You know what I mean? It's not a community.
Yeah.
Like a pu'uhonua, to me, when I hear pu'uhonua, it's a community that is all working towards the same goal, that care for each other, that are kind of in line with each other. A pu'uhonua is like an ahupua'a. There's kuleana there. You know what I mean? In these kauhale villages or these other places, there's not always a defined kuleana there. And it's not like forced kuleana. It's this is kuleana because I care about these people. So I'm going to deliver the mail to these guys. Nobody paying me to deliver the mail. I deliver the mail because somebody used to deliver my mail for me and they're tired and now I'm going to do them, right? This is all like kuleana that we got to have to each other, but it takes building pilina. So to me, the way we create more pu'uhonua is we have to kind of come together, get one game plan together, and then we can either buy land, or if we go on critical mass, we can also occupy state lands. As Kanaka, we have that right. Yeah. You know what I mean? And so, to me, getting on the ʻāina by any means necessary is the way. But you also gotta understand there are consequences to occupying land. And you gotta be willing to go through those consequences. Like when you get arrested, you cannot be over there kicking and screaming and crying and all that. Cousin, you signed up for that. Like when my uncle them used to get arrested, there was no kicking and screaming and all that. They knew they was gonna get arrested. They had their bail money in their back pocket. That's how much they knew they was gonna get arrested. That's just part of it. You know what I mean? So occupying lands is different, but you also got to be committed to doing that. And if we get people that is ready and committed to doing that, come check us out in Waimanalo if you guys strategize
Totally.
about trying to figure that out. But
Awesome. Well, that's a good segue into the next question from Carter_Peltier. This person says, I noticed that at your work days at Nation of Hawai'i, you get choke Pu'uhonua. What's your thoughts on being a Hawaii and Kanahele focused hui?
what is my thought on being a Kanaka and Oiwi focused hui? My thought is it has to be guided by Kanaka and being Oiwi focused. But that doesn't mean that
It's only for Kanaka.
it's only Kanaka and Oiwi people can belong. Like we get people that we work with loyal to us for years and years. We get one guy living in our village, been with us for over 30 years. Pu'uhonua from Alabama, but he stood with us down at Makapu. You know, the guy that taught me sovereignty almost as much as Uncle Bumpy did was this pure Japanese guy named Uncle Steve Tayama. He was the head of security for our village for years. I learned more about my sovereignty through him talking to me about this than anybody else, because he taught me of my rights for who I was and all of these things. So, I mean, we have Pu'uhonua in our communities already. For us to just like remove them and not have them part of our communities based on race is very holy, I think. And so I think if they align with our values and who we are, then they can be part of this. But they gotta have kuleana also.
Yeah, it's always interesting to me when this topic comes up, because we talk about, you know, like keeping things exclusively for Hawaiians or people of Hawaii. But when it comes to like these ʻāina days or, you know, doing the work for our people, a lot of times it's people who no more koko,
Right.
who are doing some of the things. I mean, you think of Pila Wilson, you know, one of the saviors of our Hawaiian language. That he's not Hawaiian,
Right.
but he's one of like the 5 main people that brought the language back to life. You know, so just having that global perspective, and especially when people watch Chief of War, to see that, you know, there were some good haules, you know,
Right.
that helped us, that aligned with us,
Yeah.
that wanted to help out. And a lot of times you see Pu'uhonua at these volunteer events, even like when I go to Ho'okua to volunteer, or, you know, wherever. There are a lot of transplants. And it's good. I think it's great. More people, the merrier.
Yeah.
Because one, they're getting an authentic experience learning from us. They're not learning from TikTok or, you know, ABC News, whatever it is. They're learning from us, which is the most important thing. Because then they can take that and tell their other friends, so that they have the same perspective that we have, that they have the same respect that we have, and then they can live in the ways that we live. Not being Hawaiian, but same way as I lived in Madagascar, respecting the Malagasy people,
Yes.
doing what they did, living like they did. And it's all out of respect. So I think, yeah, the more the merrier. And like, I think sometimes us locals can be motivated and encouraged by these Pu'uhonua.
Yeah.
They
Yeah, because we're used there.
Yeah, exactly. They almost feel like they have this kuleana to like give back more because they aren't from here. So they're starting at a lower level. Like they have to make up
Serve.
they have to serve, exactly. And some of us, we a little lazy, like entitled, you know, like I'm from here, I'm Hawaiian, I don't need to do these things, you know. I go Sandies, I wear my gold chain, you know, whatever. Like I don't need to give back because this is my house.
Right.
But if you think of it in your house, like, okay, you can't, somebody got to do the dishes, somebody got to take out the trash, somebody got to mow the lawn, right?
Exactly.
You can't just expect nobody to do it. So, you know, I see it as like these people coming to our ʻāina, like, hey, can I help do your dishes? Because you're letting me stay here. Can I help mow your lawn because you just gave me some food or whatever, you know? So I think it's a community thing. Yeah, I love it.
And I think, you know, like I get this question a lot too, like, wow, how come get all these holidays over here? Well, because they're here. Well, and also, I think too is like a lot of our people, we're just too busy working 2-3 jobs.
That's the other thing I was
you know what
about
I mean?
to say.
It's like, bro, these holidays, they They get good job. You know what I mean? They get
got
weekends
time.
off.
They got time.
Yeah. They get all kind of time for go do all these things. And you know what? The fact that they're spending their free time over here, moving pohaku, weeding our patches, doing all of this kind of stuff is to me, we kind of resetting and refocusing them as to why they're here. Like they gotta be part of the solution and not continue to be part of the problem. I rather than be at ʻāina days than, being on one beach somewhere, rubbing up on one turtle, or being at the mall, consuming more stuff, or doing all these other different kinds of stuff, or going up to these trails that they shouldn't be going on.
Yeah.
And we gotta steer them. That's our job. That's our duty, and make them allies, not to just the sovereignty movement, but make them allies to our ʻāina. They have to learn how to respect and love our ʻāina, and that is only created when you give people the opportunity to serve our ʻāina, and you give them that kuleana, and you just tell them and instill that with them that this is what being in Hawaii is about. It's about having kuleana. When you have kuleana to our ʻāina, you also will have kuleana to us because we come with it. There is no separating us from the ʻāina. But then you get to understand the complexities of why some of us have this trauma is because we are separated from that. And so in ʻāina Day, we try and give them the whole gamut of that. We give them the full blast about how we got there to fight and all that, just so that they know this place was fought for. So when you see Hawaiians out there being mad, and going through all these things, don't judge them. Understand why they're doing what they're doing. They're doing what they're doing so that they can have stuff like this that you get to enjoy today. So it gives them a better perspective. When they see our people, there's no judgment. They just understand why they care that much. And then they gonna care that much. Like they're fighting for their ʻāina. They don't understand yet until you get connected to the ʻāina. Then they understand. That's why you fight. That's why you feel.
Yep. Education.
Always.
And I'm so happy you mentioned about locals just being busy, because as soon as I stopped talking and you started talking, I was reflecting. I was like, I haven't been to a volunteer thing in a while. And I was like, why is that? Then I was like, okay, I've been
why
injured.
you never come?
Yeah, then I was like, okay, I've been injured, but then I'm like, oh yeah, I'm also working on 5 different projects. And I just finished my book, available now on Amazon. So I was thinking that as well. I was like, oh yeah, we don't really got time to prioritize that right now.
Yeah.
But, and then I was thinking oh yeah, and then other people probably have 2 or 3 jobs, and then you said it. So yeah, that is a true thing for sure.
Yeah.
Okay. Next question comes from Ovao Onui. This person says, how can we farm sustainably without having a capitalistic mindset?
I think it's just like I was talking about earlier, kind of creating almost like your own hui or your own ahupua'a, and I even saw this during COVID, people started to do gardens and all that, and I was kind of trying to coordinate with my neighbors because I seen everybody buy tomato plants, and I was like, bruh, how about just one guy grow tomatoes, you grow cucumbers, you grow eggplants, let's diversify and grow for each other.
Smart.
And support each other in this way. So, you know what I mean? It's so when we think about how capitalism is about competition, right? If we wanted to keep this capitalistic, we would all be growing tomatoes and we would try to see who can grow the best tomatoes. And we'd just be up to our ears in tomatoes. But when you think of an ahupua'a system, it was trade and barter, it was collaboration. And so now we're thinking about I'm not just thinking about my yard. I also have my neighbor's yard and my other neighbor's yard and my other neighbor's yard. It's more inclusive and it's more expansive when you think in a collaborative way. These are all I'm not just stuck with what I get. I also get all these other people's and all their different things that they have to give. And so when I think about how can we make farming less capitalistic, well, we gotta grow for each other then, instead of growing for profit. And so the way we can do that, the easiest way to do that is use your yard. That's how you can start growing less capitalist mindsets. We got to go back to victory gardens. We got to go back to garden farming and stuff like that, because the reason why farming is so capitalistic today is because the price of ʻāina. Having to pay a lease to farm means that you have to sell your produce. There's no going around that. You cannot go give away everything when you get one lease going on, because you constantly going to have this issue. You're not going to be able to continue growing if you're not paying your bills. Mm-hmm. So the only way for us to not be capitalistic is we got to start growing more at home and sharing with each other. That's the only way. But if you get one bill attached to that, it's going to be harder to get past that.
That's a cool way of thinking about it. Just everybody do one thing very well, right? And then you just share.
I mean, it's basically the ahupua'a. I mean, when I talk, it's always from an ahupua'a mindset. When I'm talking, or when I go anywhere, I'm not just representing myself and my thoughts and my ideas. My thoughts and my ideas is brought here because it's like I'm carrying all of my mentors with me. I'm carrying all of my peers with me that come into this space with me. I'm just like, this is part of my kuleana to my ahupua'a is I'm like a spokesman, right? So I represent all of them. So I have like all these knowledges, some firsthand, some just observing people like Kilei Frank, and how he tends to malas and lo'is and all of this kind of stuff. I can talk about that because I watch him do that. I'm not there doing it all with him, or like John Garcia, and how he, helps us with our websites and how he does, his stuff with Exchange Avenue. I can talk about all these things, but I'm not over there doing that. So it's like, we're stronger when we're an entire ahupua'a rather than our own individualistic self.
Yeah, totally. I love looking at life as this modern ahupua'a, business, sports, everything, because it makes so much sense, right? Everybody's doing one thing that they're good at and trading and helping each other out with everything else, basically. I mean, I don't know video, I don't know editing, I don't know audio, but I have the people that are helping me within my ahupua'a. I do the talking, right? Like even sports, right?
Yeah.
Not everybody's going to play every single position, right? You got the quarterback, you got the receiver, you got people playing defense. Like, you're not really good at catching. Hey, but you can swat the ball down, go on defense, right? So it just makes so much sense that when we look back and we look at the kupunas, I love always looking back to look forward, right? They had everything figured out. I mean, not everything, but they had a really good system that worked. And instead of us trying to reinvent the wheel, let's just figure out what they did and maybe add some spinning hubcaps on our wheels, right? Just make them a little bit better.
Yeah.
But they got the foundation, right?
They got the foundation.
So yeah, that's the coolest thing about our Hawaiian ancestry.
Yeah.
Okay, and then I don't know if you did mention this when you were saying that. This person said, please mention the food sovereignty cohort to branding collaborating with Go Farm.
Yeah.
Did you mention that?
No, I didn't.
Okay.
But that's. I was gonna get to that too.
Mm-hmm.
So we collaborated with Go Farm Hawaii and Purple Maya to create this food sovereignty cohort that we launched a few weeks ago. And it's basically that, what we were talking about, like how do we make farming less corporation and more communal? Mm-hmm. That's exactly what we're trying to do. So if people don't know the Go Farm program, it's basically they teach people how to be farmers in modern times so that, you can actually survive as a farmer. So they'll teach you how to grow, soil and all of this stuff. Then they'll teach you how to create a business plan. Then they'll teach you how to do branding and then actually create a way for you to sell your stuff. Now, the challenge with that is once you go through the program, when you got to go find your own land, like that's a whole different challenge, and that's a whole nother cost that they tell you about. But you know, it's basically you get a bunch of people and they all kind of learn together, and then at the end of the program, they all go their separate ways and they all start their businesses and doing all this. With the collaboration that we're doing with Go Farm, we're bringing everybody kind of together. But at the end of the cohort, we don't separate or go away. We stay together. So we're creating these communities, right? Food systems, you know, whether it's growing in greenhouses or like what we're doing for the past 3 weeks is restoring lo'i. So we have our Aloha ʻāina Day terraces that we've already been working on, that we've already been planting, but we also have other lo'i and terraces in the mountains that we haven't touched in like years. And so we took our cohort all the way to that side. So that side, they had to like start from the very beginning by helping us clear the awai, cut all the trees and all that. They got to see like the beginning parts of what creating an and restarting an lo'i is. But that's a food system that we're gonna like kind of work together. So they're getting that knowledge of kind of working together to help support each other, and then we're gonna share in the bounty of whatever we grow out of there. Instead of competing, we're collaborating.
Yeah, community over competition.
Exactly.
That's awesome. Okay. As you were saying that, I was thinking of, okay, so if people have to, like, they're specified to grow a certain plant or something, or some sort of vegetable.
Right.
When you have potlucks, okay, and it's like, okay, who's bringing the food, the starch, the whatever, the plates, the chips.
Yeah.
So what would the guy who's like, hey, I just gonna bring chips, or I gonna bring just the paper plates, what would that fall into growing the vegetable? What vegetable would that be?
Oh, bro. I don't know. Well, I mean, I think that, you know, everything is important. Like, if you don't bring the plates, then we're gonna eat with our hands.
Yeah,
you know
yeah.
what
I mean, I understand that, but that's the easiest thing. There's people taking time to cook stuff, and but it's like, I just gonna go store by the plates. Or bring the paper towels.
Right.
So what would that be in terms of planting?
I'm just curious. I guess. I don't know. There isn't. There really isn't an easy kind of thing. Like whatever you put in the ground and whatever you put your mana in, you know, no matter if it's sweet potato or lettuce or any of that. I mean, it's still gonna take some effort.
Okay.
Yeah. It's still gonna take something. Like even if you just bring in the soil.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like people seem to think like the soil is like you just grab dirt from anywhere. No, like. But you ever had to buy soil before? Like it's expensive, and like so everything I think is important, right? But that's a hard one to kind of relate. But because I mean, once we're doing things together, no matter if you're not as confident or not as good, we're still gonna find one role for you. It's our job, you know, as leaders of the cohort or as leadership, you know, that have this vision. I'm not going to allow you to give less than everybody else. Like because you giving less means I failed you because you never get the full experience. Like kuleana is not a burden. Like kuleana is a blessing.
Privilege.
It's a privilege. Yeah. So like, I'm going to let you dig up this dirt. I'm not going to do them. You do them. You know, because I like you feel what it feels like to open up a lo'i. I've opened up a lo'i before, so I'm not gonna do them. We're gonna let you do that. Not because I need slave labor and I need you for do this, which really like, you know, I mean, it's very helpful that I don't need to do this.
Yeah. Why do you think people have choke kids? That's free child labor. I see right through you guys.
Yeah. That's a smart one. Yeah. We know what you guys doing.
Yeah.
But we're giving people an opportunity to put their kuleana in so that they have that experience, so that when they go home and they tell your kids, you know what I mean? Oh, and watch this guy open his lo'i, and it's pretty amazing. Whereas, you know, now he go home and I went open one lo'i today.
Awesome.
Yeah.
All right. Next question comes from _Mike Guts. This person says, are y'all looking forward to or worried about Jason Momoa's new show about Hawaii on Apple? First off, I just gotta do a public service announcement because I see so many people spell it Momoa. It's Jason Momoa. Okay, I'm not hired by Apple. I'm not hired by Jason to say this, but it's just I'm a person who loves
gotta get it
spelling.
right.
I love spelling things right.
Yeah,
I know.
yeah.
I love the UR. The YOU''RE over. I love grammar. I love language. So I just appreciate things being spelled right.
Grammar police.
I'm a grammar police. My girlfriend hates it, even when we're texting. I'll admit that. It's Jason Momoa.
Okay.
That's all. Anyways, what are your thoughts? Have you seen anything about it?
Oh, yeah, it's hard to not see.
Yeah.
stuff
Or like,
about it.
did you go to any of the premieres, seen that?
No, I wasn't that special.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I never get my invite. What happened?
I get a couple episodes I can show you.
Yeah. Okay. Oh, there we go. I think it's wonderful. I think getting us on a global platform, might not be our story, but it gets to our story. I believe. Having more stories of Kanaka out there, and I mean, not everything is gonna be like the perfect, true history of that thing, but I think we cannot lose sight that having us tell our stories is better than other people telling our stories for us. And that's the thing. Whether we like Jason or not, whether we like, all the Hollywood and all this stuff, the guys that wrote this was two Kanaka, right? Pa'a,
Yeah. Solid guy.
Jason, right? And whoever he had with them, but they're being led by Kanaka. So Kanaka telling Kanaka stories is where we need to be. You look at the Maori, and you look at all the incredible films that the Maori have, and they tell their stories. Like we was able to screen a movie called Kawhaiwhai Tonu about 4 months ago with the director and the producers and stuff. And it was so powerful because this was a story, all Maori set, all Maori actors, and like even like the actors and actresses, they were like descendants of the people they actually played. So Temurao Morrison was in this playing his ancestor, right?
Awesome.
And I think it's we gotta have more opportunities, and this is just the beginning, gang. You know what I mean? Like we can critique this all we like, but it's not gonna be perfect for everybody. So the idea is not to get perfection on the first chance. It's to grow and evolve towards perfection. Like, that's just like even martial arts, you know what I mean? You're never gonna be perfect. It's always a constant practice. We're always gonna constantly getting better and better. But we gotta get it out there. And so I just look at it as an opportunity to get our stories out there. And if you think you can do better, then that inspires you to create better Hawaiian films, then we win.
Yeah.
That's the best of both worlds.
Yeah. I agree. I mean, just for Jason doesn't have to do this. He's a Hollywood star. He could be doing Aquaman or whatever.
Yeah.
Like
this
was his passion.
Yeah.
To do something for Hawaii by Hawaiians.
And he caught a lot of slack from it and all that, and still he persisted to do it. And so, for that alone, I think we used to getting slack for a lot of the things we do because nobody really understands the intention or why or who we are, and we think we president or king of you, and it really doesn't matter. I don't do it, to please other
for the
people.
approval of
for
others.
the approval of others. I'm doing it because to me, that's how I think I'm contributing to, to the Lahui, to the greater story of who we are as a people. And you might not see it now, but maybe in the future it changes.
Yeah. Well, the Chief of War will be out by the time this episode comes out, so I'm excited to see the reactions.
Yeah.
I think for what it is, it's beautiful, and it's like I said earlier, and I'll keep saying, we've never had anything like it, and this is. I made a video speaking in Hawaiian, saying like this isn't just a knock on the door of Hollywood. Like, is anybody home? Like, we're kicking the door down and saying like, we're here.
Right.
Like, you have to look at us. I mean, we have stories to be told. So yeah, I'm excited, and I hope people are too. All right, last question comes from Pomai Waygert. This person says, what is the goal of your food sovereignty cohort, and how can this kind of collaborative work bridge gaps with community and kuleana? You kind of talked about it a little bit, but if you want to add anything more.
I think, I mean, for people, it's I look at the nation as like a place to bring people together, to build ahupua'as, to build collaborative efforts, to just bring people closer. I think we need to become more communal and less in competition with each other. So, you know, if anything, to me, I hope the food cohort creates, you know, better relationships with the people that are involved with the cohorts. Like, they've met new people that they can depend on. Like, if, you know, a hurricane was to happen or a tsunami was to happen, like, these people could go and hui up together, let each other know, oh, bro, what kind of food you get? What do you have? What do you know what I mean? Like, you know, all of these things, because it's like, you know, not everybody has a generator. Not everybody has access to food. Not everybody has access to these different resources. But if we belong to a collective that has all these different resources, then, bro, we set. And for the nation, I believe, like, collaborating with folks like Go Farm Hawaii, you know, like Purple Ma'i'a, like even this company, Hawaii Food Service Alliance, they're the biggest perishable food distributor in Hawaii. They collaborated with the Nation of Hawaii. You know, this the CEO is this guy by the name of Chad Buck. And he was like real instrumental, like during the Lahaina fires. You know, he was one of the guys that Governor Green called to help in the assistance, because the state really couldn't get resources out to there, because people don't know, like, during disasters, the state doesn't have like cargo trucks ready to bring in supplies like at the drop of a dime. They don't have that facility. They don't have those resources. But people like Hawaii Food Service Alliance, the governor called him up. He went load up his truck with food, water, and all that, and they headed straight in while the fires were still going to help with the hubs and to help support, you know, some of the supplies going in with the hubs. So Hawaii Food Service Alliance, we partnered with them for the last 2 years, doing food distributions at our makeke, you know, and because every month we have a Pu'uhonua O Makeke where we open the gates and we have people come up. And so at this makeke, we give free bread and eggs and milk to the first 100 families that come. And so that's being provided free of charge by people like Hawaii Food Service Alliance. But like, people don't associate the nation working with these different corporations or working with these different organizations or nonprofits, whoever that you know, that are like in the American system and all that. But we're open to collaborating with anybody that is looking to help our people and to help, you know, further, like, just collaboration to work towards solutions. Like, even like, we work with Bellows Air Force Station because we're trying to clean up Waimanalo Stream, or what we call Puha Stream, because, you know, all of that water runoff, the leptospirosis, the MRSA that is coming from all upland in the Ahupua'a is going down into the beach, and the people that are down there they're service people because the cabins are right on the beach. So they get their kids frolicking in this water that is all like polluted and all that, and they don't know what to do. So they sought us out because they know we're doing ʻāina days, they know we're doing cleanup work up there. So they're asking for our help down at the mouth of the stream. And so as much as we don't get along with the military and we don't agree with a million things that they do, it's finding the one or two things that we do agree on and concentrating on that. Because if we're going to focus on the other things that we don't agree on, we're not going to be able to get to these things that we do agree on and that we do want to help better. Like, if you're interested in cleaning up Puha Stream, I'm interested in cleaning up Puha Stream too. Let's work on that. Let's not talk about the leases yet and talk about all these other things. Let's focus on cleaning up the stream. Yeah, and let's make these steps to move forward. But that's how we collaborate with so much different people. A lot of people think that, oh, we're just gonna work with Hawaiians, or we're just working with, No, if we can find things that align with helping our lands, water, or our people, then we're gonna work with you.
That's awesome. When I first came in, like the way I was thinking of when I was gonna meet you and learn about this was just learning about, sovereignty, like the physical steps that we can take. But I'm learning so much about just great mindset, a great way of just thinking and living life.
Yeah.
And like that's what I just love so much and appreciate about the way you guys do things. And I'm gonna keep saying it. And every time you go and you explain how you guys do things just like that, I'm just like, if more people live like that, we could get so much more done.
Yeah.
So I just, again, so inspired by what you're doing. Mahalo everybody for the social media fan questions. Make sure you leave some for our next guest, and maybe your question will make it on the podcast. All right, we're coming to the back end of the podcast, and I like to ask all of my guests the same question about keeping it aloha. It's the name of this podcast. It's now the name of my book, available now on Amazon. And I just want to know, in your life, how do you keep it aloha?
I keep it aloha by always being open to talk story, always being open to work together on things. I just kind of explained a lot of it, in the episode, but that's really who I am as a person. I don't separate my work from my life, because my work is my life. And so like keeping it aloha for me is to never be afraid to talk story, never be afraid to confront injustice, never being afraid to collaborate or to, do things that other people don't think are possible. That's how I keep it aloha. To me, aloha is the opposite of fear, this way.
Yeah. And you gave a great definition of aloha. And then that's basically, I think we're learning so much just about your heart. And, of course, the work that you're doing, but it's who you are as a person. I think you're gonna have a lot of fans after this, a lot of new fans.
Wow.
I think the ʻāina days might need to get a little bit more space, parking space, because I think you're gonna get a lot of people coming after this.
Right on, bro.
I do want to know, what's your you wear so many different hats.
Yeah.
Well, even going to helping with the community's broadband network, you do so much. What's your day-to-day life like, and how do you balance it all?
Well, my day-to-day life, I get up at 4:30 in the morning.
Oh, God, you're one of those.
Well, I'm one of those because I have two irritating cats, and they wake up my wife, and my wife is our breadwinner, and she gotta go work. I gotta make sure the breadwinner is going to work, so I gotta get up and shut my cats up. So I get up at 4:30
You're a good husband.
I'm a good husband.
Happy wife, happy life.
Yeah, exactly. And so I take care of them. I kind of scroll through Instagram and Facebook, and then I look at the news, and then now it's mango season, so I get up and I run outside, get all the mangoes before the chickens get them.
Oh, okay, yeah. Thank you. I'm excited to try the mangoes after.
And then I rake up my yard, and then I go up to the village, and I check in with Uncle Bumpy, and we just go through our emails, and we see what we're gonna do for the day. It could be any number of things. Sometimes we host kids, in groups, or we gotta go meet with somebody, or we gotta go downtown for see one legislator or somebody. But could be anything. It's always a surprise to me. But it's pretty free flowing. It's not real constrictive. When I have assigned times and dates and stuff, I get kind of anxiety about them, and I make sure I'm here 30 minutes before, because I gotta make sure, okay, this is done and this is done. But it's pretty free flowing. To me, I like to kind of have an open schedule, because you never know who might want to talk story, or who might have time, and might want to meet up or something like that. Because basically my job is to just build Pilina. And so I got to be ready at,
be available for that.
I'd be available, to people and all that. And then I usually end my day at 5. I come home, spend time with my wife and my mother-in-law.
Nice.
And stuff.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah, I love the free-flowing nature of, my life, and, you're similar. Structure is solid, but it's nice to just we have the autonomy to be flexible with our life. And I think that's super cool. I mean, that's what I don't care about having the most money. I care about just being free to do what I want. And that's part of being independent.
Yeah,
right?
exactly.
Awesome. All right. So I was just going to mention one more thing about that. Oh, yes. When you're saying that, I was thinking, I haven't been to an ʻāina day. I'm finally getting better physically where I can help. We should do a collaborative thing where we do a Keep It Aloha ʻāina day. And we can both promote it. I can bring some of our followers. You already have a built-in community. We just get choke people there to just help out.
Yeah, bro.
Yeah. Or you can even go deeper. Keep It Aloha Hawaiian Day with our nonprofit Hawaiian, and we just attack it we got a 3-pronged spear right there.
Yeah.
We should do that though.
Yeah, we should do that.
Yeah.
I mean, it's basically we gotta be able to collaborate with all kinds of people, all kinds of different things. Cause honestly, when I first started following you was during the time you was getting canceled and all this kind of stuff. I was like, bro, this guy is super irritating. This guy
thank you for being honest.
No, I mean for real. I was like, bro, but I'm in my, don't get deep into other people's stuff, era.
Yeah.
So I had to own that too. And I'm like, okay, well, let's just watch Brada and how he evolves. And so, we was talking yesterday about how you now see the context, right? And how when you share messages, what you thought was gonna be this is a good, cool thing to highlight. People took it the wrong way. You didn't see it that way.
Yeah, I'm very innocent.
Yeah.
Exactly.
I mean, you're not doing it to get in. I thought I was oh, this guy is rage baiting.
I didn't even know what that was.
I know.
Said.
And sometimes we don't know what we don't know because we're not able to sit down and talk story about it. And so when we talked about it yesterday, I was like, oh no, after all that, I was like, nah, this feels good. Because then, people was messaging me, oh, how was talking with that guy and all that. I was like, nah, brother is genuine. You know what I mean? I mean, I don't know you well, but I can understand the thought process, and I can see myself in you. You know what I mean? I put myself in other people's shoes when I talk, when I talk with Emma, when I talk with other people, I don't judge any of our people because I can see myself in them. I can see myself and how I would react. So I would want somebody to give me the grace of that, and it's not everything I would agree with you on, and all these things. But again, we work with the U.S. military to clean Pu'uhonua Stream, we have to be able, if I'm going to give the U.S. military grace, I got to give my own people grace and that understanding. And so, I just think we should collaborate, bro. We should collaborate more. Other people, I think we're too siloed. As much as we talk Aupua and we talk all these kind of good stuff and all that, we still get our own cliques. Everybody still get their own thing, and you know what I mean. I was kind of hurt nobody didn't invite me to the Momoa kind opening, but I understand that we're not there yet, and also it's probably it's probably packed and stuff. But I'm always open to collaboration if we can align.
Well, yeah, and I think just being able to break bread in person and collab. There's people that follow you that probably don't like me because they don't understand me.
Right.
And there's people who follow me that probably don't agree with some of the things that you, Emma, Keanu, anybody, a lot of the guests that we have on, because they don't understand.
Yeah.
And it's basically that all the time. That's why I don't get offended. I mean, I know my intent. I'm one of the nicest person ever. I just want everybody to be happy. I was in the Peace Corps.
Yeah.
I promoted peace for 3 years for free. I don't want to be fighting with anybody.
Right,
I just want to support and help people succeed in life. And I feel even like I encourage people, like, if you don't like me, if you don't understand me, come talk to me.
Yeah.
You know, get to know somebody instead of just judging based off what little clip you see on social media. So yeah, I think if we did an ʻāina day, please, all the haters come by. So we can talk stories, so I could get to know you, so you can get to know me.
Oh, we might need more security for this ʻāina day.
It's fine, because I tell you this. If I always say it's about 90% positive, 10% negative on social media. We always got to look at the positive. Whatever that 10% is, 0% of it is in person.
Yeah.
0.
Yeah.
I got people messaging, commenting, and it's been a while since I got in heat, so I feel like I'm growing.
You're growing.
None of that is ever in person. People get so, even, I mean, I'm not going to say who it is. Like, even somebody who made a video about me, saw them in person, was going to go say hi. They saw me, they just like ran away.
I know.
Like, people are just so scared to confront people in person.
That's aloha, bro.
Yeah.
That's aloha. That's the you know what I mean? Fear and aloha cannot exist in the same space. And so when you have aloha, you know what I mean? It's yeah, it'll kind of like wash that away. But you know, I think, yeah, we just need to get together more, understand each other more, and we don't have to agree on everything to move forward. That's the thing. We're not these monoliths and like, this is me.
Yeah.
And that's you, because you know, agree with this one thing, we never gonna ever interact. You know, even people like, you know, like you was telling me about, oh, if we get along with other sovereignty guys and Kanahele and all that, I was like, I have no issues with Kanahele. For some reason, Kanahele don't like me, and some of the things we do and all that, and we good. I'm good with that. You know what I mean? Because you're not in my way. You know what I mean? You're not. It's not like I don't feel the need to have to challenge you or take anything from or like, you know, even defend myself against other Hawaiians, you know, because I never talked to you yet. We never did break bread. We never did sit down and all that. There's things that I don't agree with Keanu about, but I'll never publicly speak about it.
There it is. There it is. And that's respectful.
Yeah, and that's respect.
Like, we will respectfully talk crap about you behind your back, not in front of you. We won't blast you on social media.
Yeah, well, I gotta be real.
Yeah, no, and I respect that, because I don't think, you know, blasting people, shaming people on social media is the way to go.
Yeah.
Especially if it's Hawaiian to Hawaiian. But yeah, I feel like, you know, a lot of the way you think is the way I think, and for mindset wise and just being open to, you know, understanding and other people. I think, yeah, I totally agree with that. And mahalo for sharing all of that too. But yeah, we should definitely do like a collaborative stuff. I mean, I'd be more than happy to bring my hui to your hui and get a super hui. Yeah, I mean, Avengers, right?
Well, we call the super hui a nation, so that's what we do.
Yeah.
That's
what
what
is
we're
one hui
doing,
plus
gang.
one hui
Yeah.
equals a nation?
Exactly, brother.
All right. So what is one thing you wish people knew about you that they don't? When we talk about misunderstandings, I mean, I'm sure there's so many things that probably, like, look at this guy, he's talking about sovereignty, big 6 foot, whatever, like 4, I don't know.
Yeah.
Like, well, what is one thing you wish people knew about you?
I wish people knew how much people actually support me. You know, like, doing this, living this life is difficult because it's not a paid life. You know, like I made more money delivering newspaper when I was 12 than I make this past year. Like, honestly, this is not like for the faint of heart. You don't get paid to do this. I talk to people for free, give all my time and all that. I get up in the morning, I do all this for free. How do I do that? Well, because I have a wife and a supportive family. I have a mother-in-law. I have other extended people that help support the things I do. I wish people knew that, you know, people like my wife, people like my mother-in-law, people like my mom, people like, you know, my aunties, my uncles. These are the people that support us. Same with Uncle Bumpy, his family, his wife, his people. Like, these are the people that prop us up, that allow us to have this free schedule where I can go do all these things. That's why we're able to talk with other people and not be compromised. Because I'm not sponsored by anybody. I'm not owned by anybody. I can go talk crap about any politician I like, because I don't owe them nothing and we don't owe them nothing. My uncle and me, we just free agents that can take on anybody we like because of the strength of our families. And I wish that people knew that more and understood that more. And my wife is a modest person. She's not like, like she like all the attention and all that. Maybe behind closed doors. Hey, you better mention to them you married her, because some of these guys, I don't know, the way they're looking. And I'm married, gang, and my wife is beautiful and she's very supportive. And I wish people knew that part of me. I'm very supportive by a loving family.
Awesome. That's beautiful. And shout out to your wife for holding it down.
Yeah.
What's her name?
Lindsay Kukona Pakele.
Ooh. Oh, she's a Pakele?
Yeah.
Like,
from Kilkaha. And
oh, really?
And,
like the whole, like Kainoa. And, Kalana and Dylan.
They're all
and
related.
Lisa.
Yeah.
I played football with the what can I think of?
Dylan.
No, I said Dylan. Oh my gosh, how can I? Didn't I just say the first? Kainoa. Yeah. Kainoa Pakele at Hilo High.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
On.
Oh, Pakele, nice.
Yeah.
So me and Dylan, we're starting to Keep It Aloha Fantasy Football League.
Oh,
yeah. So I don't know if you play, but if you like,
I love the drafts.
If you like go down that rabbit hole, please feel free. We got a bunch of other people to join from all past podcast guests.
Oh, right on.
Yeah, so it'll be really fun.
Okay.
Yeah, if you're interested. We'll talk more after.
Okay.
Yeah. So what's your 5, 10, 20-year plan? What does it look like for you?
5, 10, 20 years.
Or just near future or whatever. Just the future.
I think just to continue serving. Our nation, our Lahui, our people, finding ways I can help our community, and then keep growing as a person and try and help pass on resources, information, education to the next generation, or even just people here. And the ultimate goal is to better the lives of our people, and whether that's being an independent nation one day, which I think is achievable, but I think it's just, seeing how I can serve my people in a better way, how I can serve our ʻāina in a better way. And I think we can get there. And so, just being open to collaborations and building upon that and seeing how I can help others, because I think the more and more we get together, the more and more resources we're going to understand that we have. Like, we're going to be less dependent on the U.S. Like, I don't like what's going on with Trump and him cutting all these programs, but it's giving us the opportunity to take back all these kuleana. And, when we keep getting like the federal money to do all these certain things, we don't get to reassess like what we have locally. And I think it's it's gonna be some exciting times. It's rough right now, but taking back those kuleana, I think we're gonna try and work towards that.
Nice. Okay. And how possible do you think, or attainable do you think sovereignty is?
It's very attainable. Like I said, it's gonna take people to believe that they're sovereign in order for us to get to the next step of actually nation building and doing all these things, like creating our own healthcare system, creating our education. Sovereignty is attainable, but we have to be able to make it less and less of a burden. Like when my uncle them was doing sovereignty work way back in the day, it was just a prerequisite that we was gonna get arrested. That's part of the deal and all that. When I started to work with my uncle, about 15 years ago, he was like, your job is not to get arrested. We did that part. Your job is to, help expand off of what getting arrested did, and like try and do that. And I think making sovereignty more accessible, more achievable. Like, you got to imagine like having people switch from one system that is taking care of all their basic needs to another system that is uncertain. is a hard ask. So what we have to be able to do is give them an alternative. You know what I mean? Like if the Titanic is going down and you know it's going down, but you're not just going to jump into the water because you're probably going to freeze to death. So I'm just going to stay on the boat as long as I can. You know, jumping into the water is not an option without nothing. So the idea is that we're building a ship right alongside the Titanic that is trying to solve for food scarcity, that is trying to solve for healthcare, education. And so as we build this boat out, as this Titanic is going down, I think sovereignty is going to be more and more like accessible and achievable in our lifetimes. I believe that, honestly.
Awesome. I mean, what I told you yesterday too, when I was talking with cohort at the premiere about the Hawaiian language, and we were saying we never thought this would be possible in our lifetimes. You know, the Hawaiian language being on a huge platform like Apple TV.
Right.
We never thought that would be possible, but and here it is. I'm 32 years old.
Yeah.
You know, and that's a short lifetime, you know, in terms of long lifetimes.
Yeah.
So yeah, sovereignty, who knows? Yeah, especially with AI, maybe ChatGPT knows the way.
I don't know. We're training our ChatGPT for that. Bro, it's funny. Like in the beginning when we started to talk about sovereignty to ChatGPT was telling us that like, oh no, Hawaii is part of the United States. It was trying to like argue back. But now, because we trained our chatbot, our chatbot is like the most sovereign ChatGPT that's out there. Like if you guys ever was to use them, bro, this guy go off because we trained it.
Yeah, you gotta prompt it. About prompting
it. We gotta prompt it, and we inputted like stuff like the apology bill, because when you input stuff like the apology bill, like the chat was taking examples of sovereignty and understanding from all kinds of different places, but it didn't put the apology bill in its brain. Once it put the apology bill in its brain, it realized that we actually have the right to be sovereign. So it totally changed its mindset from like, oh, we cannot do that because, you know, you cannot leave the U.S., you cannot secede, there's all these laws. But once we put in the apology bill to this thing, it saw past that. It was like, oh yeah, no, we can do this, we can do that. So that gave us a lesson that, you know, it's really about like making sure our people understand these core educational tools so to know that they can get past all these barriers. Because the ChatGPT was acting like all the other Hawaiians that think they're never going to be sovereign or that that's not a possibility. But as soon as we put something in like the apology law, that bugger was the most sovereign thing ever. And that's what we need.
Yeah, that's just a great lesson of like not having enough context to understand somebody, to understand something.
Yeah.
And it's just why we got to take time to learn about people. All right, before we wrap up, I got to know, what is your life hack? Were you able to think of one?
My life hack is whenever you go somewhere, always ask if they need help. Yeah, no matter if you go to a party or you go to a place, like as soon as you come in the door, if you know it's anything, you know, not just sit down, go and ask if they need help. You try watch like what happens. You look at how the people view you in a different way because you come in like ready to serve and not as an entitled thing. Like even when I go like speak at schools or all that, you know, I know everything is all set up and all that, but I still ask the guy, what you need? What we got to set up tables or? But try to do that, you know, just as a practice, and then just see what happens when you enter a room for somebody.
You like doing tests. You go to a grad party, you see all the people afterwards asking to if you need help and putting up the chairs. That's how you tell who's public going private school.
Yeah. If they hit straight for the plates and the tin foil, you know.
Nah, we always joke about that with our family. Because like we got family parties, and then we with our different friend groups, we're like, you know, just people. Some of my friends are helping wash dishes, pull up the chair, and then if we get like one of our siblings' friends, or they went like a private school or whatever, and we're like, oh, how come they not helping or something? You know, it's like
private school.
Yeah, I'm just joking, people. Don't cancel me. It's just a joke. All right, I got my last fast 5 questions. Okay.
Okay.
These are rapid fire answers. All right. We'll get you out of here. I know it's freezing in here.
No.
All right. Favorite childhood snack?
Favorite childhood snack? Kit Kat.
Nice. It's a good one.
Oh, wait.
I love the
actually-
green tea ones.
Oh, the green tea
Yeah.
one. Well, actually, the world's famous chocolate almonds was my favorite. You know, the ones you have to sell for like school and all that. They
Oh,
come
it's in the
a-
box.
Yeah.
Oh, I haven't had those in a while.
Yeah. Oh, that was my
Big
favorite.
Island, we sell the Big Island Crunch bars.
Oh, those is good.
Those are good too.
Yeah.
But I know which one you're talking about.
Yeah.
Okay, favorite guilty pleasure?
Oh, favorite guilty pleasure. Sometimes I like to get McDonald's and get the fries.
Fries. I haven't eaten McDonald's in a long time, but the one thing I miss, fries and the ice cream.
Oh,
Because
brah.
dipping the fries in the ice cream cone was one of my favorite
I
things
know.
to do.
I mean, that's the worst for like an Aloha ʻāina guy if I admit that, but yeah.
Hey, but I love the honesty. 'Cause I'd rather have people that are real than
Yeah.
are pretending.
Yeah, we're flawed, gang.
Yeah,
You know,
yeah, I mean,
I'm-
'cause-
I'm still transitioning.
Yeah, I mean, well, it's fine. I mean, you like you said, it's a once in a while kind of
Yeah,
thing. Like
yeah.
it's a guilty pleasure.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah. Okay, favorite way to decompress.
Favorite way to decompress? I like to go to our village, go to our loya and just like sit down on the rock walls and just like, just take a couple of deep breaths, take the slippers off, and just kind
Nice.
of connect.
Awesome. Connections. That's what I
Yeah.
call them when it's like
Yeah,
connecting with people, with Hawaiians. Connections.
yeah.
Connect with the ʻāina. Okay. Favorite travel destination.
Favorite travel destination? I really enjoy going to New York, actually.
Oh, nice. I was just there
Yeah.
last month.
Yeah. My wife grew up. My wife went taught there for a little while, and then we used to go for the UN. You know, we attended meetings and stuff like that. But my wife has a lot of friends there, and I got to meet her friends, so they became my friends. So I like to go there and just kind of explore. Like, you can never see like all of New York, no matter how many trips you ever went. Like, there's always like some new place, and they got like awesome food. But I like to kind of, and actually the people are really nice. You know, people seem to think like New Yorkers are like kind of mean people, but they're just real. You know what I mean? So like, they'll just like start up a conversation. You're on the subway and all that, and you like look different. Like, you know, they see my hair and all that. Like, oh brother, where you from? And, you know, and then we just start getting into it and stuff. And they're just genuine people. I love New York.
That's cool. Yeah. And I do love that they're real, because when we were in New York, my sister goes to LA sometimes. My girlfriend goes to LA for modeling and stuff. And we were in New York, and we're talking about the difference between LA people and New York
about
people.
big.
And they said they prefer New York people because LA people would be nice to your face and talk crap behind your back. New York people would just talk crap right to your face.
Yeah, just tell you
They'll
straight up.
straight up.
Yeah.
And people appreciate that more than the
Yeah.
other one.
Exactly.
All right. Last one. Favorite Hawaiian food at a grad party.
Oh, favorite
You got the
Hawaiian
plate.
food? Yeah,
Which
we
is
get
the one you most excited for?
I like when there's a good laulau, you know. And that's easy to say because, you know, it's real cliche, but no, I've had bad laulau. Like, you get the laulau with the right combination of pork, butterfish, and fat.
Yeah, the fat is important.
You have to have the fat. Yeah, all these guys making the healthy laulau. Your laulau is dry as hell.
Exactly. It can't be dry.
Bruh.
Yeah.
Get that off the line, bro. Like, do not throw that in there. And like, the guys that like the chicken laulau and all that, I'm like, bruh, don't do chicken laulau. Dude. Just put the fat inside. Put the pork. And
Don't mess around.
Don't mess around. No, start getting cute with them. Like, straight up, one good laulau with uala.
Yeah.
Butterfish, you know. And actually, you know, O'opu, they said that the O'opu was part of like laulaus before because it was like, you know, the fish that would come up to the lo'i. So that's the meal that a kalo farmer would have. And it's kind of like, you know, trying to get that taste. So one day when we get our O'opu numbers up, we're going to have O'opu
Awesome.
in the laulau too.
Nice. I know Chef Aipono. You ever seen him before?
Yeah,
The guy in
yeah,
Vegas.
yeah.
He gets a lot of heat, but when I was there, he gave us this lau on squid luau or something. There's like squid luau drizzled over the lau, and it was so good.
Oh,
That was
bro,
the
that's
best
regular. That you just
I know,
chill
but
out there.
nobody like plates it like that.
Oh yeah.
You know, you
Nobody
eat.
plates
I
it.
eat it together. I scoop different
Yeah,
things
yeah,
together,
yeah, yeah.
combination.
I know everybody
But-
seems to think like,
Yeah.
oh no, you cannot like. I mean, I throw my lomi salmon in the
I
poi.
like to. I
and
use the poi as a glue
yeah,
to like
bring
glue
them all
everything together. Yeah.
Same thing.
Yeah. All right. Well, that's all we have for you. Mahalo so much for talking stories, coming in, sharing your mana'o, not beating me up, even though I used to irritate you. Hopefully, I don't irritate you anymore. Hopefully, people, can learn more about the both of us and, see our hearts and our intentions are only pure and want to, support our lahui in the ways that we're doing it.
Yeah.
So, yeah. You got anything else you want to share?
Well, I like to share that Hawaiians we still gotta be active out there. We still gotta be supporting each other. One of the things I was supporting earlier this month was Bill 9 in Maui and the Lahaina Strong Gang, and they were like fighting against short-term rentals and stuff, and they got that bill passed. And so like I said, like, we have to learn how to collaborate with each other and support each other in all these things, not in just the fun things, but also in the trenches.
Mm-hmm.
All of our people need support. When they try to take away classrooms from Pu'uhonua, Hawaiians, we gotta be there, gang. We cannot just be passive and because that's not my fight and that's not connected to me. No, it's all connected to us. We need to be supportive of each other, not just on social media, not just on our own comfortabilities, but also in the fights, in the trenches. We gotta be there for each other, and we gotta learn how to do that again. And so, yeah, that's what I think, and that's what I hope we can do in the future.
Right on, yeah. Well, I'll be there supporting you and whatever you guys. You have me as an ally, and I can say this now that I'm more comfortable with you too. I wanted to have you on the podcast for a while, but I was always kind of intimidated and scared. Because I always felt like I know like you're more towards that side of people that probably don't like me from all those videos.
But I'm the poi.
But you bring people together. You're the bridge.
Yes.
But the connection you had with Koa, and so that was kind of like my buffer, my way in to be like, okay, I can go meet you, talk stories, and have you. And so I'm happy it happened the way it was supposed to happen.
That's all, bro.
Yeah.
Right on.
Yeah.
And I appreciate you. Just being open to talk story. And
Of course. Yeah. I mean, I have this platform. I want to use it for Hawaiian. I'll have other people on every now and then.
Yeah.
Those, we got to grow our platform, more eyes, and the more audience for our people, right? So,
exactly.
We got different strategies that we got to do, but yeah, again, mahalo for you. Where can we find you?
You can find me on Instagram at Hawaiian National, on Facebook, branding Maka'awa'awa, and then nationofhawaii.org is our website. So.
And ʻāina Days, last Saturday of every month.
ʻāina Days is every last Saturday of the month from 10 to 2. Just show up at our gate. We open the gates and you get to come in. And then we also have a makeke. It's once a month, Pu'uhonua O Makeke. It's usually in the middle of the month. So, just follow me on those dates. But it's basically, we open the gate. You get to come into our big hall area that is in the middle of our village. And we have our Kanaka Wahine vendors that are the patrons of that makeke. And so you not only get to have free bread and eggs from Hawaii Food Service Alliance, but you also, what I tell people is, don't buy your bread and eggs from the stores anymore. Come to our makeke, get your free bread and eggs, save that money and spend that money with our vendors. That way we're keeping that money in our community and we're utilizing all of our resources to support each other. So show up for the makeke, show up for our ʻāina Days, and if I get free time and you message me for meetup, I always try and make the time to talk story.
Yeah. He's a gentle giant.
Yeah.
Yeah. But hopefully you guys get a lot more supporters and followers after this, because these episodes I call these the Kanak episodes. And it's a favorite of the Keep It Aloha audience.
Right on, bro.
So yeah.
Appreciate
right on.
you.
Mahalo, Brandon, for joining us on the Keep It Aloha podcast. Spread love, be kind to one another, and mahalo for listening to us today. We have new episodes every Thursday, so make sure you follow us and leave a review. I'm your host, Kamaka, and remember to always keep it aloha.